Chapter 697. Ling Chen was the first batch of people to enter the Divine Tomb. After entering the Divine Tomb, he had the same problem as Morongyu. He realized that this place was incomparably vast. However, he was lucky that he had gathered some experts from the sacred sect in these few days. At this moment, he was flying to one side with the experts from the sacred sect. Each of them was in a sorry state and emitted a tragic aura. Obviously, they had gone through a battle earlier. Just now, they had encountered a powerful demonic beast at the peak of the late immortal Emperor realm. The demonic beast was too terrifying. Ling Chen and the rest had used all their strength and sacrificed several immortal emperors before they killed it. When they met Morongyu in Emozhou, didn't the young masters of the sacred sect and immortal palace display strength that exceeded the immortal emperor realm? They could even fight head-on with an immortal venerable realm expert? In fact, Ling Chen and Yu Xian did have the strength to fight against an early immortal venerable realm expert. However, they weren't in the immortal world. In the Divine Tomb, they couldn't unleash their strongest strength. This was because they were suppressed by the power of the Divine Tomb. In the Divine Tomb, everyone was suppressed by the tomb. It was just a matter of how much was suppressed. Moreover, the Divine Tomb was flowing with faint divine origin energy and not immortal origin energy. Even immortal venerables couldn't absorb divine origin energy and didn't dare to absorb it, let alone immortal emperors like them. Therefore, in the Divine Tomb, they couldn't absorb heaven and earth spiritual energy to recover their strength. If they wanted to recover their strength, they could only absorb immortal spiritual pills or immortal spiritual veins. In this way, their combat strength had decreased imperceptibly. Young master of the sacred sect, we meet again. Just as Ling Chen was flying with the group, a voice with a smile was heard. Then, with a swoosh, a figure appeared in front of them. So fast. Ling Chen squinted his eyes and looked at Morongyu. Then, his eyes burst out with a dazzling light. It's you. Ling Chen's eyes shot out two terrifying rays of light that pierced towards Morongyu. This was because he saw that Morongyu was only in the Immortal King realm, but his speed was faster than him. Boom! As she spoke, Ling Chen made her move. He stretched out his hand and grabbed at Morongyu's head, intending to capture Morongyu. You're truly rude. Originally, I had something to tell you, but now let's forget about it. When Ling Chen made his move, Morongyu's figure flashed and disappeared from where he stood. Crack! Ling Chen grabbed at the void, but she only managed to grab at thin air. Instead, she tore a large part of the void apart. However, Morongyu had already appeared in the distance. Morongyu already knew that Ling Chen would make a move, so how could he not be prepared? In fact, he had already left before Ling Chen made her move. With Morongyu's speed, even Ling Chen would not be able to catch up to him when she was at her peak. Ling Chen was taken aback and killing intent surged in her heart. Just as she was about to chase after him, she suddenly stopped. At this moment, a ferocious aura suddenly flew over from their side. Ling Chen turned around and her expression changed drastically. Soul-sucking mosquitoes, damn it! Let's go. As she spoke, Ling Chen was the first to use her speed and fly forward. As for the others, their reactions were slower by half a beat, but they still quickly flew away. They did not want to fight with these soul-sucking mosquitoes. One or two of them were fine. However, the swarm of soul-sucking mosquitoes was like a flood. There were thousands of them, and Ling Chen and the others did not dare to stay here. The scariest thing about the soul-sucking mosquitoes was not their ability to suck blood and flesh, nor was it their powerful strength. Instead, it was their ability to suck souls. Once bitten by the soul-sucking mosquitoes, even their souls would be washed away. Ling Chen's reaction was fast, and his subordinates were not slow either. However, the soul-sucking mosquitoes were not slow either. When Ling Chen escaped, the soul-sucking mosquitoes had already swarmed over. Instantly, An unlucky immortal monarch could not escape in time and was swarmed by the soul-sucking mosquitoes. After a blood-curdling scream, a set of bones fell from the sky. This person was already dead. In just an instant, his flesh and soul were completely devoured by the soul-sucking mosquitoes. After this immortal monarch was cleansed, another 3 people in the Saint Gate were killed by the soul-sucking mosquitoes. Among them, the weakest was an early-stage immortal emperor, and there was even an intermediate-stage immortal emperor. Even an intermediate-stage immortal emperor did not have the ability to fight back in front of thousands of soul-sucking mosquitoes. They were directly devoured. Ha ha ha! Murong Yu's arrogant and egotistical voice came from afar, but he had already disappeared from where he stood. ****. The Saint Gate's young master Ling Chen's face was ashen, and he was furious. "Don't let me know who you are. Otherwise, I'll exterminate your 9 generations. Kill everyone in your sect, from top to bottom, and not leave a single chicken or dog alive." Ling Chen gritted his teeth, but he did not dare to stay. He fled into the distance like a dog that had lost its home. At this moment, there were only 2 immortal emperors by his side. At least 10 people were killed by the soul-sucking mosquitoes. The loss was so great that it made his heart ache, and he kept cursing Murong Yu. "It's a pity that I couldn't kill this Ling Chen." Murong Yu shook his head in disappointment. He had thought that he could use this opportunity to kill this Saint Gate's young master. However, this guy was too smart. He did not come into contact with the soul-sucking mosquitoes at all and escaped directly. In addition to his speed, those soul-sucking mosquitoes could not catch up. However, it's not bad to kill a few immortal emperors of the Saint Gate. After saying that, Murong Yu flew up again and left this place. After a few days, Murong Yu crossed many places. Grasslands, forests, deserts, swamps. There were almost all kinds of terrains. During this process, Murong Yu met more and more people. It was obvious that this world was not infinitely big. Based on the information obtained from other people, this space was about the size of 100 great states in the immortal world. 100 immortal emperor states was almost 10 million times bigger than the Huaxia cultivation world. One could imagine how big this space was. During this process, Murong Yu witnessed many fights for divine weapons. In fact, Murong Yu had once relied on his unparalleled speed to snatch a divine artifact. In fact, these were not divine weapons. They were just pseudo-divine weapons. That said, even if they were pseudo-divine artifacts, they would still be much more powerful than imperial armament. At this time, in the tomb of the god of sin, there were not only disciples of the 4 giants or people of their affiliated forces. More and more people entered this place. It was obvious that even if the 4 major forces joined forces, they could not stop the entire immortal world. Now, the entire tomb of the god of sin was fully open. Countless people poured into the tomb of the god of sin to search for the so-called divine weapons and divine pills. However, more people were buried in this tomb of the god of sin. It was only today that Murong Yu discovered that those terrifying soul-sucking mosquitoes were nothing to him. Not to mention those grasshopper-like beasts he encountered. There were a lot of immortal venerable beasts. As he walked on the road, an immortal emperor realm beast would pounce on him. There were even a few times when Murong Yu almost became food in the stomach of some immortal venerable beast. If not for his unparalleled speed, he would have been dead long ago. Even he had almost been killed, let alone the others. There were no divine artifacts, nor were there any divine pills. There was not even a way out. The only thing there were immortals who were constantly being killed. Immortal kings and immortal monarchs would definitely not live for more than a few days once they entered the tomb of the god of sin. Unless they were in a big team and grouped together. However, intense battles also broke out between people. Why do I feel that there is a strong aura of conspiracy here? Murong Yu stood on a mountain peak and frowned slightly. After entering the tomb of the god of sin, there was no way out. However, the people outside thought that there were divine weapons and divine pills in the tomb of the god of sin, so they kept pouring into the tomb of the god of sin. Now, there were at least a few trillion immortals who had entered. At least 80% of the people who entered this place were killed by those demonic beasts or other people. Murong Yu even smelled a faint smell of blood in the air. It feels like we're just some objects that came here to fill the stomachs of these demonic beasts. Murong Yu knitted his brows as he looked at the group of people fighting a demonic beast not far away. This was a beast that looked like a mantis. Its whole body was golden and it emitted an extremely fierce aura. Its strength had reached the early stage of the immortal emperor realm. Chi. Suddenly, an immortal emperor let out a scream and was split into two by this mantis. Then, this mantis swallowed this person alive without hesitation. Roar. After swallowing the immortal emperor, the body of the mantis suddenly burst out with an intense golden light. At the same time, an even stronger aura appeared mid-stage immortal emperor realm? He actually advanced? Murong Yu's face was filled with astonishment. That group of people was barely on par with the mantis. Now that the mantis had advanced, its strength instantly increased by more than 10 times. Bang! 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 The praying mantis unleashed its might in an instant and killed more than 10 experts in an instant. Then, the mantis swallowed these people into its stomach without hesitation. Roar! The mantis let out a loud roar and then turned to look at Murong Yu. What a beast, its strength has increased again. After seeing the mantis swallow those experts, Murong Yu saw that its strength had surpassed the intermediate stage of the immortal emperor realm and was slowly approaching the advanced stage of the immortal emperor realm. Swallowing immortals to advance, could it be? Murong Yu's face changed suddenly. Chapter 698. Murong Yu instantly thought of a possibility. If these beasts could all level up after devouring a certain number of immortals, then, if it was individual, it would be the way these beasts themselves leveled up. However, if every beast was like this, then it wouldn't be their cultivation method or individual situation. This situation could only be a conspiracy. A divine tomb that fell from the sky, a divine tomb that countless immortals entered, and a divine tomb that allowed beasts to level up by devouring immortals. How terrifying was this? Perhaps this is really a big conspiracy that attracted countless immortals to level up and increase the strength of the beasts. This terrifying thought gradually appeared in Murong Yu's mind. How many people had entered the divine tomb now? At least a few trillion people. A trillion was a trillion. Moreover, this number was only the initial number. Murong Yu believed that as time passed, more people would enter the divine tomb. These people who had entered the divine tomb were at least immortal king realm experts. Every one of their blood essence contained terrifying power. And if these beasts devoured a large number of them, how many immortal venerables would appear? It was even possible that there would be experts who surpassed the immortal venerables. At that time, when these powerful beasts left the divine tomb, the entire immortal world would probably be destroyed by them. And this wasn't the most terrifying thing. With the intelligence of these beasts, it was impossible for them to devise such a conspiracy. In other words, someone had devised this conspiracy, and this person was most likely the owner of the divine tomb. If that happened, it would be terrifying. If this could control the beasts in the divine tomb, they could definitely control the entire immortal world and be invincible. It was too terrifying. Thinking of this, Murong Yu couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Roar. At this moment, the intermediate immortal emperor realm praying mantis let out a furious roar and pounced towards Murong Yu. It wanted to kill Murong Yu and devour him. You're courting death. Murong Yu coldly snorted and took a step forward. 1,000 army elephant fist. Dark devil prajna. Heart-ripping lung dragon claw kick. The strength of 10,000 Jin. Elephant step. Murong Yu stepped on the army character formula and directly rushed up. In an instant, he erupted with the dragon elephant prajna art. He struck out 7 moves in a row, bombarding the Mantis demonic beast and causing it to vomit blood. Although Mantis had broken through to the intermediate immortal Emperor realm, how could he be compared to Morongyu? Since he had just broken through, his strength had yet to be consolidated. The most important thing was that this Mantis did not have much intelligence. In the battle, it only knew how to bite, claw, and pounce. It was not a match for Morongyu at all. Heavy dragon lock, Morongyu spread open his fingers and turned them into a dragon claw. He pierced through the void and emitted a terrifying aura. He grabbed a gap and stabbed into the head of the Mantis. Then, he exerted force in his 5 fingers, and with a crack, the head of this Mantis was ruthlessly crushed. Its soul was shattered, and it was instantly killed. The heavy dragon lock was a claw technique from the Black Tortoise scripture. The might of the armored bone dragon claw was not inferior to the dragon elephant prajna art. It was one of Morongyu's main battle techniques. After killing the Mantis with 1 claw, Morongyu snorted coldly. He spat out a flame and burned the Mantis. He did not want other demonic beasts to eat the corpse of this Mantis and increase their strength. I want to see if these demonic beasts are as I guessed, Morongyu thought in his heart. Then, he soared into the sky. Although he had a terrifying guess in his heart, Morongyu was not willing to believe that his guess was correct. However, no matter what, he had to verify it. Rumble, not long after, Morongyu crossed the distance of 1,000,000 miles. At this time, he saw people fighting in front of him. However, when Morongyu flew over, he found that the battle had already ended. When Morongyu arrived nearby, he happened to see a nether wolf devouring a corpse on the ground. There were more than 10 corpses scattered on the ground. Although these people were dead, their bodies emitted a powerful aura. It was obvious that they were not weak. Seeing Morongyu come over, the nether wolf that was devouring the corpses immediately roared at him. However, it did not pounce over. Instead, it leisurely devoured the corpses. Morongyu did not stop it. He only looked at the nether wolf quietly. The nether wolf's strength was not very strong. Like the Mantis, it was in the early stage of the immortal Emperor realm. At this moment, Morongyu clearly saw that after the nether wolf devoured the corpses, they turned into energy that entered the nether wolf's limbs, bones, meridians, and even Dantian demonic beasts had dantians as well. On the other hand, the nether wolf's strength was slowly increasing. When the nether wolf had devoured more than 10 corpses, boom! The nether wolf's body exploded. Following that, an even more powerful aura burst out from its body and soared into the sky. It really broke through. Morongyu frowned slightly. This nether wolf had also broken through from the early stage of the immortal Emperor realm to the intermediate stage of the immortal Emperor realm. Its strength increased at a terrifying speed. Moreover, there was no bottleneck at all. It seemed that as long as it devoured enough experts, the nether wolf's realm would continue to increase. At that time, it would not be difficult for it to reach the immortal Emperor realm. It might even surpass the immortal Emperor realm. After making a breakthrough in strength, the nether wolf's glowing green eyes looked at Morongyu. Then, it fiercely stomped on the ground and soared into the air, pouncing towards Morongyu. In its eyes, Morongyu was a ball of energy. A ball of energy that could increase its strength. Die! Morongyu shouted as he executed his ultimate battle skill, causing the heavens and earth to shatter and the sun and moon to dim. The frightening power even tore apart the surrounding space. In less than a dozen moves, the nether wolf was killed. However, after destroying the nether wolf, Morongyu did not look happy. On the contrary, his face became even gloomier. Morongyu soared into the sky again with a gloomy face. Following that, he encountered even more demonic beasts. A battle between demonic beasts and humans, a battle between demonic beasts. Whenever the beasts won, the beasts would devour the corpses. It was the same for both humans and beasts. After devouring the corpses, the beast's strength increased more or less. As expected, once more people enter the tomb of the god of sin, more and more powerful beasts will appear. Murong Yu's face was extremely gloomy. Moreover, Murong Yu noticed something else. When Murong Yu first entered the tomb of the god of sin, he did not encounter any humans or beasts. However, after such a long time, he encountered more and more beasts and humans. It could be said that Murong Yu would encounter immortals or beasts after walking a certain distance. Especially beasts, there were more and more of them. He didn't know where they came from. The most terrifying thing was that at the beginning, Murong Yu encountered immortal kings and immortal monarchs. But now, the beasts he encountered were all above the immortal emperor realm. Moreover, there would be more and more powerful beasts. The situation was grim. I have to stop all of this. Murong Yu's face was gloomy and his heart was heavy. If this matter was allowed to develop, Murong Yu did not know what would happen in the end. But how could he stop it? These people who entered the tomb of the god of sin would definitely not listen to him. I can only look for experts like the Heavenly Punisher Palace and the Immortal Palace. They should have gathered a lot of people. Murong Yu's idea was to gather all the people who entered the tomb of the god of sin and kill the beasts. At the very least, they would not let the beasts continue to wreak havoc and kill the immortals to increase their strength. In fact, if a large number of experts gathered, they might even be able to destroy the plot of the tomb of the god of sin. Or, they could find a way to leave the tomb of the god of sin and go outside to stop the immortals from entering. However, the second method was not practical. Even if Murong Yu went out, no one would believe him. The space of the tomb of the god of sin should be the size of 100 provinces in the immortal world. It was not big, but it was not small either. At least, it was a little difficult for Murong Yu to find Yu Xian and the others. However, along the way, Murong Yu had seen many people gradually forming teams to fight against these beasts. Perhaps, someone had already discovered the strangeness of these beasts. At the same time, Murong Yu kept spreading his ideas. In a mountain range in the tomb of the god of sin, the young masters of the Immortal Palace, the Sacred Sect, and the representatives of the Devil Sect and the Heavenly Punisher Palace gathered together. I believe everyone knows the seriousness of the matter, right? The so-called tomb of the god of sin and the so-called divine weapon are completely a conspiracy. Yu Xian, the young master of the Immortal Palace, said with a sneer. The others were also sneering. They were not fools. How could they not discover this situation? Now the strength of these beasts is getting stronger and stronger. After a while, I'm afraid all of them will advance to the terrifying immortal venerable realm. The most terrifying thing is that these beasts are endless. I don't know how many there are. The one who spoke was a young man. He was the representative of the Heavenly Punisher Palace. He was very powerful and was at the late stage of the immortal emperor realm like Yu Xian. It was believed that his true strength was stronger than the ordinary experts of the same realm. Although we don't know who is controlling this matter, we must not let them succeed. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. A big shot of the Devil Sect said. Then what should we do? Although we have gathered some people, there is still a considerable number of people who have not gathered. Moreover, those ant-like forces still have doubts about our words and can't gather together. If we can't all gather together, we will only be slaughtered by the beasts. In the end, it will only increase the strength of the beasts. There is another problem. The people outside don't know that this is a conspiracy at all. A large number of people enter here at every moment. The most important thing is that the people who enter the tomb of the god of sin appear in a random place. If we can't unite, the beasts will become stronger and stronger. I'm afraid there will be experts who surpass the immortal venerable realm. Now we only have two ways. Find the exit and stop more people from entering. The other is to eliminate these beasts. The young master of the Immortal Palace said with a murderous look. Chapter 699. Immortal Palace's young master Yu Xian, Sacred Sect's young master Ling Chen, and the others were not good people. They did not want to save the world. The reason why they joined forces to exterminate these demonic beasts was because it was related to their own lives and their own interests. They all knew the seriousness of the matter, and that, if they did not stop it, the demonic beasts in the tomb of the god of sin would become stronger and stronger. Not to mention the possibility of an existence surpassing the immortal venerable realm. Even if a large number of immortal venerable realm demonic beasts appeared, they would not be able to bear the consequences. Moreover, there might be someone behind these demonic beasts controlling everything. If this person developed, he would unify the immortal world when he left the tomb of the god of sin. In this way, the interests of the immortal palace, sacred sect, and other major forces would be damaged. Naturally, they did not want this to happen. Therefore, they had to stop all this. What if there are still people who are not willing to join us? Someone asked. Kill. Not only do we have to kill them, but we will also destroy their bodies, Sacred Sect's young master Ling Qin said murderously. The Immortal Palace's young master and the others nodded slightly. This was the only way now. Otherwise, the more deaths there were, the stronger the demonic beasts would be. Therefore, the experts of the four major forces joined forces and began to gather a large number of people. With their strength, many people joined their team one after another. Of course, not everyone was willing to join them. After all, some people did not see through this huge conspiracy at all and thought that it was just the four major forces who wanted to monopolize the treasures in the tomb of the god of sin. For these people, Yu Xian, Ling Chen, and the others did not say anything at all. There was only one word: kill. They were not good people to begin with. Now, for their own lives, they would become even more vicious. Anyone who did not join their team would die. No one would be left alive. Moreover, in the tomb of the god of sin, the four major forces were the most powerful. And as more and more people gathered together, they became stronger and stronger. These people have also discovered this huge conspiracy. I can't join them. When Murong Yu came to this side, he found that Yu Xian and the others had already gathered a large number of people. They began to exterminate the demonic beasts. As for Murong Yu, he had no intention of joining their team. It was not that Murong Yu was stubborn and wanted to be a lone ranger. Instead, he knew that once he joined this team, he might not even know how he died. The young masters of the Immortal Palace and the Sacred Gate were not good people, and Murong Yu had clashed with them before. With their personalities, even if they didn't want to kill Murong Yu, they would use all kinds of tricks to kill him. For example, he could let Murong Yu scout for information and kill him with the help of the demonic beast. In the face of the threat to their lives, the people of the four major forces temporarily joined forces. No one wanted to fight for the position of alliance leader. Trying to snatch the title of alliance leader now was no different from courting death. It didn't take long for most of the immortals in the divine tomb to gather. Those who had just entered the divine tomb were gathered together. The counterattack had begun. The alliance was divided into four teams. The Immortal Palace, the Holy Gate, the Devil's Sect, and the Heavenly Punisher Palace each led a team and began to exterminate the demonic beasts in different directions. Each team had more than 1 trillion people, which was 1 trillion people. The weakest was at the Immortal King realm. Together, their strength was terrifying. Even immortal venerables would flee at the sight of them. Although the demonic beasts in the divine tomb were powerful, they were no match for these people. Although immortals were constantly killed in this process, more immortals entered the divine tomb. From the beginning of the extermination of the demonic beasts, the immortals had the absolute upper hand. Wherever they passed, everything was destroyed and razed to the ground. Countless demonic beasts were killed and destroyed. It was as easy as blowing dry branches. Although the demonic beasts were powerful, they were not as powerful as the immortals. Even if there were immortal venerables, they would be killed by the joint forces of countless immortals. 100 states in the immortal world were not big, but they were not small either. In about a month's time, The human army had already swept through this space. Countless demonic beasts and immortals died, and the entire space was filled with a faint red gas. It was like fresh blood, emitting a faint smell of blood. The demonic beasts have almost been exterminated. But things seem to be getting more and more complicated. Murong Yu didn't go with these people. Instead, he moved alone. He stood on top of a mountain peak and stared at the void in front of him, his expression growing darker and darker. Too many demonic beasts and immortals had died. The entire space was filled with the color of fresh blood and the faint smell of blood. At this moment, Murong Yu discovered something that gave him a bad feeling. The blood and even the smell of blood floating in the air seemed to be slowly gathering in one direction. It was as if something up ahead was attracting the blood. Could it be that the demonic beast's strength isn't part of the final plot? Could it be that the final plot is a blood sacrifice? A terrifying thought flashed through Murong Yu's mind. With so many demonic beasts and demonic beasts dead, it would be best to use them as blood sacrifices. Even a god would likely be resurrected. A god is buried in the divine tomb. If this isn't an accident, but someone manipulated the appearance of the divine tomb to attract a large number of demonic beasts into the tomb for a blood sacrifice. The more Murong Yu thought about it, the more apprehensive he became. The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Immediately, he rose into the air and slowly flew in the direction of the blood floating in the air. Not long after, Murong Yu arrived in the vicinity of a mountain peak. There were no demonic beasts in the thousands of miles around this mountain peak. Not a single one. Therefore, when the young master of the immortal palace and the others were clearing out the demonic beasts, they directly skipped this area. The blood is rushing toward the peak of this mountain. Unfortunately, my divine consciousness is suppressed so much that I can't see anything. Murong Yu looked up at the towering mountain peak and frowned slightly. Let's go up and take a look. Murong Yu's heart skipped a beat. He immediately sped up and flew toward the peak. Not long after Murong Yu left. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless figures also shot over from afar. This is the peak. The exit should be on top. If there is a conspiracy, it should be on top. The one who spoke was the young master of the immortal palace, Yu Xian. After clearing out the demonic beasts, they began to look for the exit out of the tomb of the god of sin. However, they almost searched the entire space and couldn't find the exit. There was only this peak. It may be an exit or a conspiracy. The young master of the holy gate, Ling Qin, frowned slightly. Who cares about the conspiracy? Even if there is a god up there, we will kill him, the young master of the immortal palace said coldly. Now that they had gathered all the people who entered the tomb of the god of sin, they had the ability to fight even if there was a god. In that case, let's go up and see what the conspiracy is. The young man of the heavenly Punisher palace spoke. At the same time, he rose into the air and flew toward the peak. The young master of the immortal palace and the others didn't lag behind and flew up directly. Stone coffin? Murong Yu's speed was extremely fast. He rushed to the top of the mountain almost instantly. There was a huge square on the top of the mountain, and at the end of the square there was an ordinary stone coffin. It was obviously an exaggeration to say that it was ordinary. The surface of the stone coffin was rough, and everything seemed to be crudely made. It was placed on the ground like this, and there was even some moss on it. It was just like what one would see in the secular world, and it was even worse than the stone coffins in the secular world. However, Murong Yu didn't underestimate this stone coffin that seemed to be crudely made. As the saying went, if things were abnormal, there must be a demon. In this space with such great pressure, how could there be an ordinary stone coffin that looked like one from the secular world? It should be known that even the experts of the Nine Heavens Xian immortal realm couldn't survive in the space of the tomb of the god of sin. They would be crushed in the first place. The sarcophagus lay there quietly. The blood in the void continuously flowed towards the sarcophagus and entered the sarcophagus. The The stone coffin was like a black hole that would never be filled. It was constantly absorbing the blood in the void. Seeing this scene, Morong Yu's face turned ugly. The blood was rushing into the stone coffin. Obviously, someone was absorbing the blood. Morong Yu was basically sure of his guess. The existence in the stone coffin was bloodstains, using the blood of countless demonic beasts and immortals. Perhaps he was reviving? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just as Morong Yu was looking at the stone coffin with an ugly expression, countless figures rushed up and appeared near Morong Yu. "It's you." Ling Chen saw Morong Yu at first glance, and he sneered. Boom! Ling Chen attacked, and a punch was aimed at Morong Yu. A cold light flashed in Morong Yu's eyes. His figure flashed, and he disappeared on the spot. Boom! Terrifying power poured down, directly bombarding the open space of the square, causing the ground to tremble. However, it was unable to shatter the ground, not even a crack was formed. Wait! Morong Yu turned to look at the young master of the sacred gate and said in a deep voice, "I know you want to kill me, but shouldn't we deal with this first?" While speaking, Morong Yu pointed at the strange stone coffin. "You don't have to worry about this. After killing you, we'll naturally deal with it." Ling Chen sneered, took a few steps forward, and launched a violent attack on Morong Yu. Morong Yu frowned slightly. He didn't want to fight with others now. Although he could resist Ling Chen's attack, there were still people behind Ling Chen. Some immortal venerables were eyeing him covetously. Even if Morong Yu could defeat Ling Chen, those immortal venerables behind him wouldn't let him go. Moreover, the most important thing now wasn't how to defeat these people. The stone coffin was too strange. Morong Yu had a feeling if they didn't destroy the existence in the stone coffin, they wouldn't be able to escape death. Chapter 700. Ling Chen, hold on. Just as Ling Chen was about to kill Morong Yu, the young master of the immortal palace, Yu Xian, suddenly called out to her, "Stop!" Ling Chen frowned and his face darkened. Without looking, he said coldly, "Yu Xian, this is my private matter. Don't meddle in other people's business." Ling Chen, look at the sarcophagus first. The person in charge of the devil sect said coldly. Morong Yu took a few steps back and looked at the sarcophagus. At this time, the sarcophagus was different from the one Morong Yu saw before. The entire sarcophagus had turned blood-red, as if it was oozing blood. What's more, vein-like things appeared on the stone coffin. They were densely intertwined on the stone coffin, which made people's hair stand on end. It was extremely terrifying and mysterious. At the same time, a brutal, terrifying, and tyrannical aura was slowly emitted from the sarcophagus. With the sarcophagus as the center, it swept in all directions like a torrential river, sweeping across the world. Not good, something is coming out. Everyone present was a top expert. How could they not know the horror of the sarcophagus? They all knew that if the thing in the sarcophagus appeared, the consequences would be unimaginable. Attack, destroy that sarcophagus. The young master of the immortal palace roared, and was the first to attack. He exploded with a terrifying force towards the sarcophagus. At the same time, the others also attacked, releasing a powerful force that could destroy heaven and earth. It tore through the void and strangled the sarcophagus. The power of countless people, including many immortal venerables, attacked at the same time. How terrifying was this power when gathered together! In the immortal world, it could tear through everything and was invincible. Any expert who encountered such a situation would run away at the sight of it. Rumble. A terrifying force blasted down and bombarded the sarcophagus. It made a series of earth-shattering noises. However, what made everyone present feel a chill in their hearts was that their attacks could not even shake the stone coffin, let alone destroy it. The sarcophagus was like an immemorial divine mountain standing on the spot. No matter how violent and terrifying the power was, it still stood firm. However, this was not the most frightening thing. What made their hearts palpitate was that, after their attacks hit the stone coffin, they disappeared without a trace like clay oxen entering the sea. That was terrifying. At this moment, the stone coffin was even redder than before. It was oozing with blood, as if it was about to drip out. As for those intricate meridian-like existences that wrapped around the stone coffin, they began to swell like blood vessels. They even began to gently pulsate. Seeing this scene, everyone present couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. They didn't know what this thing was. However, they all knew that this stone coffin was very strange. If the person inside the stone coffin were to come out, it might be their doomsday. Attack, attack, destroy this sarcophagus. Suddenly, countless violent forces poured out again, wanting to destroy the sarcophagus. However, no matter how they attacked, their power was like a clay ox entering the sea, disappearing without a trace the moment they got close to the stone coffin. Seeing this strange scene, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. One by one, they attacked without any regard for their lives. Everyone was attacking with all their might. At the same time, more people rushed forward and joined the attack formation. However, no matter how many people came, no matter how violent their power was, they all disappeared without a trace before they could get close to the sarcophagus. They couldn't hit the sarcophagus at all, let alone destroy it. Crack! Suddenly, the sarcophagus made a crisp sound. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Then, they saw the lid of the sarcophagus move to the side, revealing a thin crack. Instantly, countless people probed with their divine senses, wanting to see what was buried in the sarcophagus. Murong Yu did the same. There's nothing. It's like a vast starry sky, boundless and pitch black. Murong Yu probed with his divine senses, but he couldn't see anything in the sarcophagus. Their divine senses couldn't enter at all. Rumble, suddenly, a terrifying suction force erupted from the sarcophagus. At this moment, Murong Yu felt his divine senses being pulled by a force, and was about to be pulled into the sarcophagus. Murong Yu snorted and immediately cut off his divine senses. He didn't want his divine senses to be sucked into the sarcophagus. Who knew what dangers were inside? This was the tomb of the gods. The existence buried in the tomb of the gods was a god. Once his divine senses were sucked in, who knew if he would be killed? Murong Yu cut off his divine senses in time, but there were many people who couldn't do it in time. The moment Murong Yu cut off his divine senses, countless screams rang out. Then, Murong Yu saw experts being grabbed by an invisible hand and flew toward the sarcophagus at an extremely fast speed. These people struggled and screamed, but it was useless. They were still flying toward the sarcophagus at an extremely fast speed. Murong Yu's expression changed slightly. He reached out his hand and caught an immortal lord flying past him. Just as Murong Yu caught the immortal lord, a powerful force erupted from the immortal lord's body, and he actually broke free from Murong Yu's restraint. Murong Yu snorted and grabbed the immortal lord with his big hand, and pulled him down. Ah! At this moment, the immortal lord who was grabbed by Murong Yu let out a shrill scream. Then, Murong Yu saw blood spurting out from every pore on the immortal lord's body like a blood mist. In a few breaths' time, the immortal lord shriveled up because of the loss of blood. In the end, he turned into a pile of powder and fell from Murong Yu's hand. What a terrifying power! Murong Yu's heart skipped a beat. This was an immortal lord. How could he turn into powder just like that? Moreover, this person's death was different from when he was killed by the power of time in the immortal realm. The power of time only used the power of time to erase all of their killing intent. In the end, everything would be erased in the river of time. On the other hand, this immortal lord had his blood essence sucked dry and died. Moreover, the speed at which the blood essence was absorbed was too fast. It was so fast that Murong Yu couldn't react in time. It wasn't just Murong Yu who was like this. The other immortals were the same. It was the same for those who were sucked dry. They didn't even get close to the stone coffin before their blood essence was sucked dry. They turned into powder and scattered between heaven and earth. How terrifying! Seeing this scene, the few trillion immortals present were so frightened that their faces turned pale. Even those immortal supremacies were the same. This was because they didn't know what had sucked their blood essence dry. They even felt that if they were caught, they wouldn't be able to resist. In the end, they would also end up like these immortals, turning into powder and disappearing between heaven and earth. Hiss! The few trillion immortals sucked in a breath of cold air and retreated in fear. Rumble! The suction from the stone coffin was even more terrifying now, forming a storm. Suddenly, a terrifying power burst out, pulling everything to the side of the coffin. Many immortals who weren't strong enough couldn't resist the suction and were sucked over. Their blood essence was sucked dry midway, and they turned into powder, disappearing between heaven and earth. Rumble! At the same time, the entire divine tomb began to change. Gusts of wild wind appeared out of thin air. The scent of blood drifting between heaven and earth flooded in from all directions and rushed toward the stone coffin. The stone coffin is absorbing the blood essence. There must be a terrifying existence inside. He's going to absorb the blood essence to revive himself. We can't let him come back to life. We must destroy him. Everyone would be fools if they didn't realize what was going on when they saw this. The existence inside the stone coffin hadn't come back to life yet, but he'd already devised such a huge scheme. He'd lured countless immortals into the divine tomb and sacrificed them to bring himself back to life. Such methods, such brutality, and such cruelty. If he came back to life, everyone present and even the entire world of immortals would be sacrificed. Kill. Destroy him. One by one, the experts roared and unleashed their strongest attacks at the sarcophagus. However, they couldn't do anything to the stone coffin before, so how could they do anything to it now? Countless immortals were crushed by the suction force before they could even get close to the stone coffin. The suction force became more and more terrifying. Many immortals who weren't strong enough were sucked in. The more blood essence it absorbed, the more terrifying the aura inside the stone coffin became. Those below Immortal Monarch, retreat immediately. No, those below Immortal Emperor, leave this place immediately. Those above Immortal Emperor, start attacking. Someone shouted. Immortal kings and immortal monarchs were absolute powerhouses in the immortal world. But here they were useless. They could only let the stone coffin absorb their blood essence. It was better to let them leave this place. This way, the stone coffin wouldn't be able to absorb enough blood essence and wouldn't be so terrifying. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless immortal kings and immortal monarchs retreated. Those above Immortal Emperor unleashed their strongest attacks, trying to destroy the stone coffin. Crack, crack, the coffin lid moved continuously and the crack grew bigger. Suddenly, a withered hand that was only skin and bones slowly reached out from the stone coffin. Boom! The hand shook violently, and the coffin lid was instantly sent flying. Then, a withered man that didn't look human slowly stood up from the stone coffin. An extremely terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth was emitted from his body, tearing apart heaven and earth and annihilating the void. Chapter 701. Bang! 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 A terrifying aura spread out in all directions, instantly suppressing all the world. In an instant, those immortal kings and immortal monarchs who had not retreated in time exploded under the pressure of this terrifying power. After a series of explosions, countless immortal kings and immortal monarchs were blown into clouds of blood mist. And in the void, there seemed to be invisible giant hands that kept grabbing the blood mist toward the person in the coffin. Then, under the horrified gazes of Murong Yu and the others, the mist of blood quickly entered the shriveled body of the man that no longer resembled a human. Kill him quickly! Someone in the crowd roared. Immediately, an even more terrifying power poured out, strangling the withered man. Ha ha! After countless days and months of waiting, this god has finally been resurrected. All of you trash, become nourishment for this god's body and nourish it. An unpleasant voice came out of the shriveled mouth, shaking the void and causing it to collapse piece by piece. This god, Morong-yu, was not shocked by the aura and sound waves of the withered man, or rather, the god. However, he was stunned by the other party's words. A resurrected god. Morong-yu's expression changed instantly, and at the same time, the others were the same. What was a god? A god was above an immortal. Even the most powerful immortal, as long as he was still an immortal, was an ant-like existence in the eyes of a god. A god, even the lowest level one, had the power to easily destroy the immortal world. Destroy the immortal world. And now, a god had been resurrected. Moreover, this god was obviously not a good person. As he spoke, the god made his move. His emaciated palm slowly pressed upwards. Boom! After a loud explosion, the power of the countless experts would be shattered. Ant-like existences dare to attack me? All of you die. Obviously, being attacked by so many ants, although they could not do anything to him, this god was still very angry. Therefore, he reached out his big hand and slowly grabbed at Morong-yu and the others. Bang! 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 An extremely terrifying power appeared out of thin air. Instantly, countless immortals exploded again, turning into a bloody mist that was finally absorbed by the god. And Morong-yu saw that after absorbing so much blood essence, the god's body gradually became fuller. He knew that as long as this god absorbed enough blood essence, his body would completely recover. He would even recover to his peak state. The appearance of a peak god in the immortal world was definitely a disaster for the immortal world. He could definitely sweep through the immortal world and be invincible. Even before the giant hand reached out and attacked, there were already hundreds of millions of experts who were killed. Endless amounts of blood essence was like a tidal wave, and was absorbed by the god. However, the god did not seem to be satisfied with this situation. The giant hand shook the giant's hand quickly. In that instant, Morong-yu felt an extremely frightening pressure pressing down on him. The terrifying power squeezed from all directions, it actually sealed all the void space around him. Morong-yu's face changed. His figure blurred as he shot towards the distance. The god's power was too terrifying. He could not resist. Staying here was just waiting for death. Die! Seeing the god's giant hand coming down, countless immortals roared and attacked the giant hand with their strongest attacks. However, what made them despair was that their attacks were shattered before they could even get close to the giant hand. The difference in power between the two sides was too great. It was so great that even a few trillion immortals were no match for the god. A god was a god after all. Even if he had just been resurrected, he was still not someone that immortals could fight. Ants were ants after all. No matter how many of them there were, they were still ants. This was something that could not be changed. Run! Seeing that a few trillion immortals attacked at the same time, but they could not stop the god's giant hand for a moment, everyone present was in despair. No one dared to stay on the spot. They all used their speed to escape into the distance. Run? Where are you running to? Anyone who enters the tomb of the god will die. Your blood essence will be sucked dry by me. Even this immortal realm will be sacrificed by me. Ha ha! The god laughed and suddenly clenched his giant hand in the void. Bang! 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 This time, not only were the immortal kings and immortal monarchs crushed, even the immortal emperors couldn't withstand this terrifying power and were directly crushed into pieces. With a squeeze, hundreds of millions of immortals were crushed to death. In the end, only a small number of immortal emperors and immortal monarchs escape. Puff! Morong-yu spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was full of shock. Just now, he had retreated hundreds of millions of miles. However, the god's attack still enveloped him. If he had not used the Hichu Luoshu, he would have been crushed. However, even so, he was seriously injured. Within hundreds of millions of miles, most of the immortals had been killed. Endless amounts of blood essence surged toward the god like a torrent, nourishing his body. At this moment, if someone was near the deity, they would see that after absorbing a large amount of blood essence, the deity's originally withered body had gradually become plump and full of life. Just think about it. Even if the ones killed were only immortals and their blood essence had no effect on the god, how terrifying would the blood essence of trillions of immortals be? Even a god would benefit immensely from it. Run? Where are you running to? The god sneered, then suddenly opened his mouth and sucked in a deep breath. Whoosh! 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 At the same time, a terrifying suction force appeared in the great tomb of the god. Everything in the entire space was being sucked in. Bang! 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 Everything, even the towering mountains, was sucked up by the suction force and shot toward the god. When they got close enough to the god, they all exploded and turned into dust. Some of the immortals and powerful demonic beasts that hadn't been killed exploded into a mist of blood and were absorbed by the demonic beast. Even the top experts of the immortal world, the immortal venerables, couldn't do anything about it. In front of the god, whether they were immortal venerables, immortal emperors, or immortals of other realms, they all had the same status. They were all ants. How terrifying! Invincible, Murong-yu summoned the Hichu Luoshu and madly circulated its power. But there was nothing he could do. He was still sucked back. The young master of the immortal palace, the young master of the sacred gate, and other experts were the same. Hey, you have the Hichu Luoshu? Haha, Hichu Luoshu, I actually found it in this low-level immortal world? How could an ant like you have it? What a waste. Give it to me. As he spoke, the god stretched out his hand and grabbed at Murong-yu. Boom. When the god said the words, Hichu Luoshu, Murong-yu's head suddenly exploded like thunder. He was almost dizzy from the explosion. This was the first time someone recognized that he had the Hichu Luoshu. Moreover, he had said it out loud in front of everyone. The immortal palace also suspected that he had the Hichu Luoshu, but they didn't announce it to the public because they wanted to keep it for themselves. But this god said it without any scruples, which showed that the god was determined to get the Hichu Luoshu. Crack, crack, the big hand reached out. Before it even got close to Murong-yu, the terrifying power had already crushed Murong-yu's body. This person is too powerful. Even if I use the bow of heaven and earth and the sky-shaking arrow, I can't do anything to him. No, I have to leave the tomb of the god of sin. If I don't leave here, I will die in the end. Murong-yu roared in his heart. There was even a trace of fear in his heart. Yes, it was fear. This god was too powerful, so powerful that he felt fear. What immortal sovereign! What Yenyu! In front of this god, they were nothing. Murong-yu even felt that if Yenyu, who was in the immortal sovereign realm, was in front of this god, he would most likely be blown to death by this god. The power of the world's origin, bless my body and teleport me. Murong-yu roared in his heart. He actually wanted to leave here directly. The god was very excited. Not only did he finally use the blood of these ants to revive himself, but he also found the Hichu Luoshu here. What was the Hichu Luoshu? In the god realm, who didn't know the power of the Hichu Luoshu? Just the fact that it could carry living people, and the space inside was like a real big world, was enough to make countless people go crazy and set off a storm of blood. Not to mention the various treasures inside. In truth, there were no treasures inside the He-2 and the Book of the Luo. The various treasures left behind by the previous owners of the He-2 and the Book of the Luo had long been burned by Zhao Yun when he was risking his life. Moreover, the Hichu Luoshu was a powerful magic treasure that could be used for both offense and defense. When Murong-yu first obtained those treasures, it was only because those pills and treasures were too low-grade that they weren't burned. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten anything from the He-2 and the Luoshu. Of course, even if there was nothing inside, the Hichu Luoshu was still one of the most miraculous treasures in the world. As long as I obtain the Hichu Luoshu and the treasures inside, I can quickly recover to my peak. Then I can return to the God realm and sweep through everything, invincible under the heavens. The god roared in his heart. He was incomparably happy. However, very quickly, the joy in his heart turned into anger. Because just as he was about to catch Morongyu disappeared into thin air. Hiding in the Hichu Luoshu? Let's see where you can hide. In the divine tomb, I am the ruler. Come out. The god roared in anger. Waves of terrifying power erupted continuously, causing the entire divine tomb to tremble. The vault of heaven, the void, and the earth all shattered. Chapter 702. In the origin space of the Huaxia cultivation world, whoosh, a figure broke through the endless space-time and appeared here in the blink of an eye. Then, the figure spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, he sat down cross-legged and began to recover. This person was Morongyu, who had escaped from the tomb of the god of sin. He had used the power of the origin to escape back to the cultivation world. This was the first time he had used the power of the origin to escape. However, he had no other choice. Morongyu couldn't find the exit in the tomb of the god of sin, nor could he enter the Hichu Luoshu world. If he hadn't been able to teleport directly back to the cultivation world, he would have died. After adjusting his breathing, Morongyu's figure flashed and disappeared from the origin space, arriving in the Hichu Luoshu world. His injuries were so serious that he needed to speed up his recovery in the Hichu Luoshu. Otherwise, it would take a very long time for him to recover in the outside world. In the end, it would be too late. A day later in the outside world, Morongyu reappeared in the source space. His injuries were completely healed, and he had already recovered to his peak. In fact, he had even made some progress. In reality, Morongyu had been recuperating for several hundred years. After appearing in the origin world, Morongyu didn't leave immediately. Instead, he pondered. The person in the coffin was obviously a god. This god who had fallen had used some underhanded means to descend into the world of immortals and then carried out a blood sacrifice, killing countless immortals and finally resurrecting himself. This person's methods were extremely cruel and brutal. In order to resurrect himself, he had killed so many people. It was hard to imagine what kind of disaster he would cause once he appeared in the world of immortals. This guy had once said that he would sacrifice the entire world of immortals. Morongyu would never doubt the authenticity of his words. And this resurrected god was so strong that he could absolutely sweep across the entire world of immortals and be invincible. Even immortal venerables couldn't possibly be his match. They wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow. A calamity for the immortal realm. Morongyu suddenly sighed. He was not someone who bemoaned the state of the universe and pitted the fate of mankind, nor was he a good person who wanted to save the world. However, if this god wanted to sacrifice the entire immortal realm, Morongyu would have no place to live. Shenzhen, the celestial palace, and even the heavenly court would all be destroyed. Everything that Morongyu had worked so hard for would be lost. This was something he didn't want to happen. However, with his current strength, there was no way he could fight against that god. Perhaps when he reached the immortal venerable realm, he would have the strength to fight against deity. However, it was almost impossible for him to kill deity. That person actually knows about Hichu Luoshu. Morongyu's face was somewhat gloomy. He didn't expect that this god would be able to tell that he had Hichu Luoshu on him at first glance. In this way, as long as Morongyu appeared in the immortal realm, he would become the target of countless people in the immortal realm. After all, this was the Hichu Luoshu, an extremely real and enormous world. Especially after the appearance of this god, people in the immortal realm wanted to obtain Hichu Luoshu even more. Why was this? Because once he obtained Hichu Luoshu, he could relocate all of his forces to the Hichu Luoshu world. In this way, even if that person sacrificed the entire immortal realm, his forces in the Hichu Luoshu world wouldn't suffer any losses. In this way, Murong-Yu would not only have to face this incomparably powerful opponent, but also the entire immortal realm. I hope that more people don't know about the existence of Hichu Luoshu, Murong-Yu thought. However, he knew that this was impossible. That God definitely knew about Hichu Luoshu, and at that time, many immortals around Murong-Yu knew that he had Hichu Luoshu. Murong-Yu had the means to leave the tomb of the gods and escape from the gods' pursuit, so others should also have the means, especially the young masters of the Immortal Palace and Sacred Gate. Murong-Yu didn't believe that they would be killed by the god like that. No matter what, I'll deal with whatever comes my way. If one comes, I'll kill one. If two come, I'll kill two, Murong-Yu said with a murderous aura. Then, his body swayed and disappeared on the spot. In the origin space of the Daluo world of cultivation, Murong-Yu's figure appeared out of thin air. He planned to first become the enforcer of the Daluo world of cultivation and completely control the Daluo world of cultivation. In this way, Murong-Yu's strength would become even stronger, and it might even be possible for him to break through to the immortal monarch realm. The stronger he was, the more means Murong-Yu had to protect himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to fight against the many experts in the immortal world, let alone the god. The origin space of the Daluo world of cultivation had long recognized Murong-Yu as the enforcer. Murong-Yu came this time to be fully recognized and control the Daluo world of cultivation. Therefore, it wasn't difficult. In a short time, Murong-Yu controlled the entire Daluo world of cultivation and became the enforcer of the Daluo world of cultivation. Rumble, after truly taking control of the Daluo world of cultivation, rumbling sounds of thunder suddenly sounded from Murong-Yu's body. With a series of crackling sounds, Murong-Yu's body seemed to be transforming. At this time, Murong-Yu had already left the origin space of the Daluo world of cultivation and appeared in the Hichu Luoshu world. Time acceleration. Murong-Yu directly activated the time acceleration and began to cultivate. After completely taking control of the Daluo world of cultivation, my talent has been cleansed and is stronger than before. I feel that the chaotic celestial record is about to break through. This time, I must break through. Murong-Yu roared in his heart and began to break through. Time flowed like water, day after day. No one knew how much time had passed. Suddenly, a loud sound came from Murong-Yu's body, as if something had broken. At this time, Murong-Yu couldn't help but roar. I've finally broken through. The third level of the chaotic celestial record. Murong-Yu roared in his heart. Just now, he'd finally succeeded in comprehending the third level of the chaotic celestial record. He'd successfully broken through the barrier and entered the third level of the chaotic celestial record. Level breakthrough for me. Countless immortal meridians, burn for me. After the breakthrough of the chaotic celestial record, Murong-Yu roared in his heart again and grabbed at the void with both hands. Immediately, grade 9 immortal meridians were pulled out one after another and piled up beside him into mountains. Mountains of immortal meridians. After countless grade 9 immortal meridians appeared, they immediately burned up. Suddenly, a torrent of power rolled over like a raging wave. It was so powerful that it covered the sky and covered the earth, drowning Murong-Yu. Murong-Yu opened his mouth and took a deep breath. Immediately, the endless power turned into a torrent and was sucked in by Murong-Yu. At the same time, the life force in Murong-Yu's energy center trembled continuously and absorbed the power of the void drifting in the void. It replenished Murong-Yu's body and began to help him break through to the next level. Murong-Yu's body was completely submerged by the incomparably terrifying power. It even filled every inch of his muscles, bones, and meridians. It was different from the previous times when Murong Yu's power level would skyrocket after the breakthrough of the chaotic celestial record. This time, after the breakthrough of the chaotic celestial record, Murong Yu didn't break through from the immortal king realm to the immortal duke realm. Murong Yu knew the reason. It was because he didn't have enough power. The power stored in his body was far from enough for him to break through the barrier of the next level. After the immortal king realm, every breakthrough required a large amount of power. The higher the level, the more terrifying the power needed. Immortal Duke Realm, break through! Murong Yu roared in his heart. He gathered all his power and began to break through to the next level. Rumble endless power kept rushing and attacking the barrier between the Immortal King Realm and the Immortal Duke Realm. Once this barrier was broken, Murong Yu would reach the Immortal Duke Realm and his power would skyrocket. Murong Yu's physical body had already reached the level of a royal weapon and could be said to be very powerful. However, at that moment, his entire body began to bleed, and cracks began to appear all over his body. This was because he had absorbed too much power. All this power was gathered in his body and couldn't be released. It had exceeded the limit of his body. If he couldn't break through to the next level, this power would cause him to explode and die. I still don't have enough power. Murong Yu tried for a long time but still couldn't break through to the next level. He gritted his teeth. Suddenly, more 9th-grade immortal meridians appeared near him and began to burn. More power was absorbed into his body than before. When the terrifying power broke through to the next level, it also constantly attacked Murong Yu's body. At this time, Murong Yu even had the aura of a desperate person. It was as if he would either succeed or die trying. If it was in the past, he definitely wouldn't be so anxious. However, it was different now. A resurrected person had appeared in the immortal world. The entire immortal world could be destroyed and the people of the immortal world could become Murong Yu's enemy. If he wasn't strong enough, his fate would be very tragic. Unless he hid in the space of the He-2, the Book of the Luo, and the Heavenly Punishment Token, he might die. Hiding in the space of the He-2, the Book of the Luo, and the Heavenly Punishment Token, although he could protect himself, it was almost impossible to achieve greater things in the future. After all, the path of cultivation was to face difficulties head-on and resolve all the dangers along the way. Only then could one reach the end and achieve limitless success. Rumble, Murong Yu began to furiously break through to the next level. After an indeterminate amount of time, one day, Murong Yu's body suddenly shook violently. The power that had almost caused his body to explode suddenly seemed to have found an outlet and surged out. At the same time, a terrifying aura that was more than 100 times stronger than before radiated from Murong Yu. Vast, powerful, and terrifying, it soared into the sky and awed the myriad realms. Chapter 703. Kacha, the sound of crystals cracking could be heard from Murong Yu's body. At the same time, a vast aura was emitted from his body. I've finally broken through to the immortal monarch realm. Murong Yu couldn't help but exclaim. He had finally broken through to the immortal monarch realm, from the immortal king realm to the immortal monarch realm. Murong Yu let out a long roar that sounded like a dragon's roar to express his joy. However, he didn't stand up and stop cultivating. Immortal Meridian continued to burn. Continue to break through to the next realm. Murong Yu roared in his heart as he continued to burn his immortal meridian. It turned into a torrent of energy that surged into his body and continued to break through to the next realm. After breaking through to the next realm, Murong Yu's physical body had become even stronger. It had reached the peak of the royal weapon realm and was only one step away from breaking through to the monarch weapon realm. Murong Yu believed that after passing the tribulation, his physical body would break through to the monarch weapon realm. In addition to his strong physical body, his meridians were also 100 times stronger than before. Originally, A large amount of energy surged into his body and almost destroyed his meridians and physical body. However, at this moment, in front of his meridians that had expanded by 100 times, the energy that surged into his body couldn't fill up his meridians. Fortunately, Murong Yu didn't have much, but he had a lot of immortal meridians. He grabbed the grade 9 immortal meridians and burned them. They turned into torrents of energy that surged into his body and quickly replenished his energy. Soon, Murong Yu's energy was replenished to the peak. His cultivation base was also slowly rising under the scouring of these powers. The Immortal Monarch realm was gradually rising to the peak of the Immortal Monarch realm. When his cultivation level reached the peak of the Immortal Monarch realm, Murong Yu's cultivation level was stuck again. This time, Murong Yu didn't risk his life. Instead, he tried to break through to the next realm a few times. After failing to break through to the next realm, Murong Yu gave up. This was because he knew that he couldn't break through to a higher realm. It wasn't because he wasn't strong enough. Rather, it was because his understanding of the chaotic celestial records wasn't deep enough. The second level of the third level of the chaotic celestial record wasn't complete yet. It was only enough for him to reach the heavenly high immortal realm. As such, even if Murong Yu had enough power, he would not be able to break through to a higher realm. Therefore, Murong Yu stopped. Murong Yu stood up, and a crackling sound came from his body. The powerful and terrifying aura slowly retracted into his body. My strength is over 100 times stronger than before. Murong Yu sensed his formidable power and thought. Suddenly, rumble, one after another, the silhouettes of earth dragons appeared above his head. 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 200,000. In the end, a total of 500,000 silhouettes of earth dragons hovered above Murong Yu's head. They roared continuously, emitting an earth-shattering pressure that shook the heavens and the earth. 500,000 earth dragons of power. If that Immortal Palace young master or Sacred Gate young master were to appear in front of me, I would be able to crush him to death. 500,000 earth dragons of power. One should know that ordinary heavenly high immortal experts only had a few thousand earth dragons of power. Even the strongest heavenly high immortal experts didn't have 6,000 earth dragons of power. Even immortal emperors, the strongest immortal emperors, only had 100,000 earth dragons of power. However, Murong Yu, who was only in the heavenly high immortal realm, already had 500,000 earth dragons of power. He could definitely kill any immortal emperor. He was definitely the strongest expert below the immortal supremacy realm. The Immortal Palace young master and Sacred Gate young master were also peerless geniuses. Their strength far surpassed ordinary heavenly high immortal experts. However, they shouldn't be comparable to Murong Yu. Murong Yu estimated that the earth dragons of the Immortal Palace young master and Sacred Gate young master should be around 200,000 to 300,000 earth dragons of power. Compared to Murong Yu, there was a difference of 2 to 300,000 earth dragons of power. Murong Yu was more than enough to crush them. Killing them in an instant was as easy as eating and drinking. After all, before his breakthrough, Murong Yu was already able to contend with them for a while. Of course, he was just contending with them. With his speed, it would be difficult for Yu Xian and the others to kill him. However, Murong Yu was still far from being their match. Now, I truly have the strength to fight against an early heavenly high immortal expert. At the very least, it's basically impossible for an early heavenly high immortal expert to kill me. Murong Yu's eyes flickered with killing intent as he pondered. Before this, even though Murong Yu had all kinds of treasures, he couldn't withstand a single strike from an early heavenly high immortal expert. In fact, he was almost killed by Yen Yu twice. An immortal high immortal expert's earth dragons of power had reached 1 million earth dragons of power. Before this, the gap between him and Murong Yu was just too big. It was already a miracle that he could escape from an immortal high immortal expert. If it was an ordinary person, it would be impossible for him to escape. Even a late immortal emperor expert wouldn't be able to escape. The gap between an immortal high immortal and an immortal emperor was just too big. Just in terms of strength, there was a gap of 10 times or even more. Now, an immortal high immortal expert can't kill me and I can't kill an immortal high immortal expert. However, if I break through to the intermediate immortal monarch realm, I should be able to kill an early heavenly high immortal expert. If I can reach the immortal monarch realm, I'll even have the strength to fight against a god. However, when can I reach the immortal monarch realm? Murong Yu muttered in his heart. He was confident that he could reach the immortal monarch realm and even become a god. However, that required time. What he lacked the most now was time. If it was in the past, Murong Yu could slowly increase his strength. But now that God was resurrected in the immortal world, Murong Yu felt that the immortal world had started to become unstable ever since that God was resurrected. He even had a feeling that a storm was coming. However, even if that God is resurrected in the immortal world, his strength shouldn't be able to reach the peak. He shouldn't even be able to unleash the power of a god. Because of the laws of heaven and earth, he should be greatly suppressed. Murong Yu sneered in his heart. If that god was suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth, he wouldn't be that scary. Murong Yu still had the strength to fight against him. Otherwise, if that god was able to unleash the power of a god in the immortal world, Murong Yu wouldn't be able to survive in the immortal world anymore. 500,000 earth dragons of power. After the tribulation, my physical body can reach the monarch weapon realm. My lifespan has also broken through the limit and reached 2 eras. Murong Yu couldn't help but be shocked when he sensed his lifespan. In the immortal world, no matter how strong one was, one could only live for 1 era, which was 1 trillion years. This was the limit that no one could break through. However, Murong Yu's lifespan had increased to 2 eras, which was 2 trillion years. However, when he thought of his special constitution, Murong Yu didn't find it strange. He took a deep breath and the power in his meridians surged. It seemed inexhaustible and endless. At this moment, the tree of life in his dantian had grown to a height of 10 million miles. It was truly a towering tree. The tree of life's roots in the void had increased. With every breath Murong Yu took, these roots absorbed an endless amount of power into his body. Endless and inexhaustible. From now on, Murong Yu's body wouldn't run out of energy anymore. Even if his energy was depleted, the life force would immediately replenish his strength to its peak. Very good. This is called power. I'll go to the immortal world to undergo the tribulation first, then I'll go gather information. It's best if I can kill the other enforcers as well. As long as I become an enforcer in the cultivation world, my talent will become stronger and my strength will increase faster and faster. With a flash, Murong Yu disappeared from the Hichu Luoshu world. When he reappeared, he was already in the immortal world. However, he didn't appear near Mo province. Instead, he appeared in Jiang province, a large and remote province. After arriving in the wilderness, Murong Yu attracted his own heavenly tribulation. Immediately, countless bolts of tribulation lightning came crashing down, wanting to crush Murong Yu into pieces. At this moment, Murong Yu's physical body was strong and his strength was even greater. These bolts of tribulation lightning couldn't do anything to him. Murong Yu opened his mouth wide and took a deep breath. Immediately, the bolts of tribulation lightning that came crashing down from the sky were sucked into his stomach. Even the bolts of tribulation lightning in the sky were sucked into his body. Immediately, the tribulation clouds dissipated. Murong Yu's tribulation this time was relatively simple. Rumble, the power of countless bolts of tribulation lightning, was sucked into Murong Yu's stomach. Then, he quickly refined them and spread them to his limbs, meridians, and bones, tempering his physical body. All of a sudden, Murong Yu's body trembled. Then, with a bang, his body exploded into fine powder. The powder that filled the sky floated in the void. However, it didn't dissipate or float away. Instead, it quickly gathered together and began to reassemble. Not long after, Murong Yu appeared in the same place again. However, the current him had undergone an earth-shattering change compared to his previous self. Even though his strength was restrained, his body still exuded a powerful aura. It was very valiant. With every move he made, even when he was standing in the same place, layers of ripples constantly appeared in the void around him. This was because his physical strength was too strong. Even when he was standing there, he could still tear the void apart. One could imagine how terrifying his strength was. The physical body of a monarch weapon. Now, even an early immortal venerable won't be able to crush it. Murong Yu nodded with satisfaction. Although the physical body of a monarch weapon was relatively strong, an immortal venerable could annihilate it with a single slap. However, the physical body of a monarch weapon wasn't as fragile. Murong Yu restrained his strength, turning his body back into an ordinary one. After concealing his strength, he disappeared in a flash. Otherwise, no one would be able to get close to him in his current state. Once someone got close to him, they would be turned into fine powder by his strength. Chapter 704. The divine tomb had appeared out of thin air and sacrificed countless immortals. A dead person had taken the opportunity to come back to life. The news had spread like wildfire in the world of immortals. Even the cheapest provinces were talking about it. It had only been a few days since Murong Yu had escaped from the divine tomb. However, this matter was simply too shocking. It had already spread throughout the entire immortal world. When Murong Yu returned to the heavenly court in Feng province, he received news of the divine tomb as soon as possible. That's right, Murong Yu hadn't returned to Mo province. Instead, he'd returned to the heavenly court immediately after his tribulation. The heavenly court situation didn't look good. As soon as Murong Yu returned to the heavenly court, he received information about the divine tomb. Just as Murong Yu had guessed, after he'd escaped from the divine tomb, the young masters of the Immortal Palace and Sacred Gate, as well as some other powerhouses, had also left the tomb. There was no way to know why they'd left the tomb. However, they'd left the tomb after all. Nevertheless, there were still trillions of immortals in the tomb. Countless immortals had been sacrificed, and the casualties were very heavy. That god had finally come back to life. However, there was something different from what Murong Yu had guessed originally. Murong Yu had thought that the god would leave the divine tomb after his resurrection and start a bloodbath in the world of immortals, or perhaps unify the world. In other words, he'd immediately sacrifice the entire immortal world in an attempt to restore his strength. However, things had developed beyond Murong Yu's expectations. The resurrected god had indeed left the divine tomb. Perhaps he wanted to carry out his plan as well. As Murong Yu had guessed, he wanted to sacrifice the entire immortal world to restore his strength. However, as soon as the god left the divine tomb, he received the most terrifying attack before he could even start a massacre. After learning about the divine tomb, countless old antique powerhouses appeared and rushed to Mo province at the first opportunity. How terrifying was the power of hundreds of millions of immortal sovereigns gathered together. No one knew how terrifying this power was. They only knew that after the resurrected god appeared, he was attacked by the combined forces of these powerhouses. Even a god would not be able to withstand the bombardment of hundreds of millions of experts. The deity was severely injured in an instant. He was killed to the point where he could not fight back at all. He spat out blood and fled. Compared to the invincible image in the tomb of the god of sin, there was a huge gap. That god has been defeated. Murong Yu let out a sigh of relief, but it was only a sigh of relief. After all, this god had not been killed. He was only injured and retreated. Once his injuries were healed, he would make a comeback. At that time, his power would be even more terrifying. At that time, the experts of the world of immortals wouldn't be able to gather together to kill this god. Once it was destroyed by this divine clone, it would be a huge disaster for the immortal world. Moreover, Murong Yu believed that no one in the world of immortals would be a match for this god in a one-on-one battle. If I'm not wrong, this god should be suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth. He can't unleash the power of a god. Otherwise, with his strength, even if he hasn't recovered to his peak, it would be impossible for those people to injure him. However, even if he's suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth, he's still a god. His strength is above any immortal sovereign. Just like in the Huaxia cultivation world, those immortals who descended to the mortal world couldn't unleash the power of immortals, but they could almost sweep the entire world of immortals. At this moment, this god should be the #1 expert in the world of immortals. Fortunately, he's been severely injured. It won't be easy for him to recover. After all, he's a god and there are no divine veins in the world of immortals. As long as I'm given time, my strength will become even stronger and I might be able to contend against him. However, now that the news about the Hichu Luoshu world has spread, the situation is grim. Murong Yu frowned slightly, somewhat annoyed. That's right. The news that Murong Yu possessed the Hichu Luoshu had spread. Although the Hichu Luoshu didn't have many functions, the fact that it was a real world was enough to drive countless people crazy. At this moment, countless people flocked to Feng Province. Of course, these people didn't come to seek refuge with Murong Yu, but came after hearing about the Hichu Luoshu world. They were all coveting the Hichu Luoshu. These people are courting death. Murong Yu's eyes flickered with a cold light and murderous intent. Now that his strength had increased by several folds, he could even contend against early immortal venerables. Ordinary experts and forces were no longer in Murong Yu's eyes. However, there were also a lot of immortal venerables in the immortal world. If these people swarmed over, Murong Yu could only take away the heaven court and flee. After all, he could contend against an early immortal venerable, but he wouldn't be able to contend against an intermediate immortal venerable. A late immortal venerable could kill him. Moreover, there were so many immortal venerables in the immortal world, whoever dares to plot against me will have to die. Murong Yu's murderous intent filled the air as he soared to the sky. Even if he wasn't a match for those people, the immortal world was so big that those people couldn't kill him. Moreover, if Murong Yu escaped, no one would know where he was. Alright, these people will just be giving me star points. I still need 20 billion star points. Once I get the Emperor Breaking Pill, a large number of immortal sovereign experts will appear in Shenzhen, the Heaven Court and the Celestial Palace. At that time, I will be invincible in the immortal world. In the Divine Tomb space, Murong Yu had obtained a total of 10 billion star points in the following period of time. His total star points had reached 30 billion. However, there was still a big gap to reach 50 billion. Let's make a trip to the Heavenly Punishing Palace and see if Steward Ma has any news about the other enforcers. While killing the enforcers to improve my cultivation, I can also earn star points to increase the strength of my force. Only by doing this can I move unhindered in the world and gain a foothold in this chaotic world. Murong Yu's heart stirred. He was about to leave the Heaven Court and go to the Heavenly Punishing Palace. However, at this moment, He Hu rushed in. Saint Lord, Heavenly Reaching Immortal Emperor requests an audience. He's outside the city now. Heavenly Reaching Immortal Emperor. Murong Yu's eyes glinted. Previously, when Murong Yu had asked for the soul grass, the Heavenly Reaching Immortal Emperor had threatened him. However, since Murong Yu and the Heavenly Court were not strong enough, they had ignored the Heavenly Reaching Immortal Emperor. Moreover, the Heavenly Reaching Immortal Emperor had not come looking for trouble with Murong Yu and the Heavenly Court. However, the Heavenly Reaching Immortal Emperor had come looking for trouble. Murong Yu sneered inwardly. Naturally, He knew what the heavenly reaching immortal emperor was up to. The heavenly reaching immortal emperor only coveted the Hichu Luoshu world. "I'll go meet him," Murong Yu said as he rose to his feet. He who was taken aback when he saw Murong Yu was about to go out alone. He hastily tried to dissuade Murong Yu and said, "Saint Lord, he's a titled celestial emperor. He's very powerful, it's fine. If he dares to do anything, I'll just kill him," Murong Yu said indifferently. Then, with a sway of his body, he vanished from where he was standing. With his current strength, he could even defeat an early immortal venerable. How could a mere celestial emperor do anything to him? A middle-aged man stood on top of a mountain 100,000 miles away from Feng City. He stood facing the wind as he gazed into the distance. He exuded a domineering aura. However, he did not exude any powerful aura. In fact, he did not even exude any energy fluctuations. Nevertheless, it would be a mistake to assume that he was just an ordinary person. This man was the heavenly reaching immortal emperor, the Lord of Tong Province. Although he looked ordinary, his body was filled with explosive energy. Once he unleashed his full strength, he would be able to easily kill those who were at the same level as him. After all, he was not the one who called himself the heavenly reaching immortal emperor. He was strong enough to bear the title of heavenly reaching immortal emperor. Swoosh! All of a sudden, ripples appeared in the void beside him. Then, a figure appeared 10 miles away from him. The heavenly reaching immortal emperor was slightly taken aback, but he did not show it on his face. He studied the newcomer for a moment before a smile appeared on his face. "You must be the lord of the heavenly court, Murong Yu, right?" The newcomer was none other than Murong Yu. Murong Yu sneered inwardly. Although the heavenly reaching immortal emperor had a smile on his face, he could not hide the disdain and contempt in his eyes. In fact, Murong Yu was only an early immortal duke, while the heavenly reaching immortal emperor was a titled celestial emperor. Therefore, he was qualified to look down on Murong Yu. Of course, this was only what he thought. "Heavenly reaching immortal emperor, may I know the purpose of your visit to Feng Province?" Murong Yu asked indifferently. A hint of anger flashed in the heavenly reaching immortal emperor's eyes when he saw Murong Yu's disrespectful attitude. In his opinion, Murong Yu was not on the same level as him. Even if Murong Yu did not kneel and greet him, he would still treat him with respect. "I heard you want soul grass?" Soul grass was specifically used to repair souls. Even broken souls could be repaired. However, if the soul has been broken for too long, it won't be able to repair it even with soul grass. Even if it's repaired, there will be repercussions, the heavenly reaching immortal emperor said indifferently as he looked at Murong Yu. Murong Yu sneered inwardly. "Heavenly reaching immortal emperor, what do you mean by that? Since you want soul grass, there must be a problem with your or your family's soul. I have a stalk of soul grass with me. You're saying you want to give me the soul grass? It would be impolite for me to refuse," Murong Yu said with a faint smile. A hint of anger flashed across the heavenly reaching immortal emperor's face. Then, he laughed and concealed his killing intent. "It's not impossible for me to give it to you. However, things like soul grass were almost extinct. I can give it to you, but you have to exchange it with one of your treasures. What do you think?" Murong Yu instantly knew what the heavenly reaching immortal emperor was planning. Exchanging soul grass for Hichu Luoshu. In the past, if Murong Yu could not find soul grass, he might be tempted. After all, as the heavenly reaching immortal emperor said, the longer the soul was broken, the more severe the repercussions would be even if it could be repaired. However, Murong Yu was only tempted for a moment. He definitely wouldn't use He-Tu and Luo-Shu to exchange for soul grass. He wouldn't in the past, and he definitely wouldn't now. In the past, it was basically impossible for Murong Yu to obtain soul grass. But now, Murong Yu could get as much as he wanted. This was because he could use star points to exchange for soul grass. One stalk of soul grass was only worth 1,000,000 star points. Even if he could not exchange for soul grass, Morong-yu would not exchange Hichu Luoshu for it. The He-Tu and the Book of the Luo were extremely important to him. He would rather die than exchange the He-Tu and the Book of the Luo. However, if he did not exchange for soul grass, what would he do? It was very simple. Morong-yu would work hard to improve his strength. When the time came, he would kill the heavenly-reaching immortal emperor and snatch the soul grass. Moreover, Morong-yu now had the time to kill the heavenly-reaching immortal emperor. It had only been a few hundred years since Morong-yu had asked for soul grass. Chapter 705. What treasure do you want to exchange the soul grass for? Although he knew the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's plan, he did not say it out loud. He wanted to see how thick-skinned the heaven-reaching immortal emperor was. After all, Morong-yu's current strength had already surpassed the heaven-reaching immortal emperor. If the heaven-reaching immortal emperor did not know what was good for him, Morong-yu would not mind killing him for a large number of stars. That's right, the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's halo was as black as ink, indicating that he was an extremely high-grade villain. Killing him would give him at least a few million stars. Hichu Luoshu. The heaven-reaching immortal emperor looked at Morong-yu and said indifferently. He had a well-thought-out look on his face, as if he had already defeated Morong-yu. Heaven-reaching immortal emperor, I have a question for you. Please ask. The heaven-reaching immortal emperor said indifferently. He thought Morong-yu would ask about the soul grass. Is your brain fried? Or was it damaged by the door when you went out today? Are you crazy? Exchange the soul grass for the Hichu Luoshu? Why don't you just ask me to give you the Hichu Luoshu directly? Morong-yu's expression changed abruptly as he cursed the heaven-reaching immortal emperor. The heaven-reaching immortal emperor's face turned ashen. The heaven-reaching immortal emperor's face was ashen. Endless killing intent emanated from his body and filled the entire area. So much so that the frightening killing intent had almost condensed into substance as it shot towards Morong-yu. Good. Very good. The heaven-reaching immortal emperor laughed out loud. He was so angry that he laughed. He looked at Morong-yu with a gloomy face and murderous look. He said, Morong-yu, you're very good. Originally, I wanted to exchange the soul grass for the Hichu Luoshu, but you don't know what's good for you. Looks like I have no choice but to take you down today. In this way, not only can I obtain the Hichu Luoshu, but I can also control the heavenly court. Although the heavenly court is nothing in my eyes. But it's better than nothing. However, I'll give you a chance now. Kneel down immediately and submit to me. Hand over the Hichu Luoshu or die. At the same time, the heaven-piercing immortal emperor stretched out his hand, which transformed into a claw and grabbed at Morong-yu, intending to capture Morong-yu. Haha, at this moment, Morong-yu did not run away. Instead, he laughed loudly. Looking at the laughing Morong-yu, the sky-reaching immortal emperor stopped his attack and looked coldly at Morong-yu. He said in a deep voice, Morong-yu, what are you laughing at? What am I laughing at? I'm laughing at you for overestimating yourself. Do you really think you have me in your grasp? Who do you think you are? Morong-yu looked at heaven-reaching immortal emperor with disdain. That's right, his face was filled with disdain. Several hundred years ago, when Morong-yu met the heaven-reaching immortal emperor, he could only run away. However, it would not be difficult for Morong-yu to kill the heaven-piercing celestial emperor now. The heaven-reaching celestial emperor was a titled celestial emperor. But so what? Morong-yu could even contend with early immortal venerables for a bit. Ha ha! Sky-piercing immortal emperor laughed out of extreme anger. He was truly infuriated by Morong-yu's arrogance. Today, I'll show you the true strength of a titled celestial emperor. Originally, if you had obediently offered up the Hichu Luoshu, I could have made you my slave. but now you're dead for sure. At the same time, the heaven-span immortal emperor made his move. The claw slashed out, shattering the void. A terrifying aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth erupted, causing the sun and moon to dim. It enveloped Murong Yu's entire body and captured him. A cold killing intent flashed across Murong Yu's eyes. From the moment the sky-piercing immortal emperor made his move, he could tell that the sky-piercing immortal emperor was not as strong as him. However, his earth dragon power should be around 400,000. He was much stronger than the young masters of the Immortal Palace and the Sacred Gate. If it was before Murong Yu's breakthrough, he could only flee at the sight of the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor. He was no match for the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor. But now, Murong Yu's 500,000 Earth Dragon power was directly crushing his opponent's 400,000 Earth Dragon power. Murong Yu just stood there, not doing anything, with a carefree look on his face. However, Murong Yu's attitude was seen by the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor as Murong Yu's arrogance. It should be known that even late-stage Immortal Emperors would either run for their lives or counterattack when they saw him attacking. Who would dare to stand still and not move? Unless the other party was an immortal venerable. However, Murong Yu was only an immortal monarch. Arrogant brat, die for me. The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor sneered in his heart. His huge hand grabbed down, wanting to kill Murong Yu. But at this moment, Murong Yu made his move. The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor's huge hand was about to land on Murong Yu's head and take it away. But right at that moment, Murong Yu's fist slowly landed on the ground. It was a slow punch without any strength. You think you can break my attack like this? Seeing this, the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor sneered in his heart and continued to grab down. Bang! Both sides collided fiercely. The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor's face was filled with disdain. He wanted to see how Murong Yu would be killed by him. However, at the moment of impact, his expression changed. The disdain on his face was replaced by shock, disbelief, and disbelief. In the instant of the collision, Murong Yu's hand suddenly erupted with a power even stronger than his own. Not only did the violent and powerful aura startle the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor, but it also made him feel a sense of danger. No, how's this possible? How can a celestial duke possess such terrifying strength? The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor cried out in shock when he saw his attack being destroyed by Murong Yu's punch. Die! Murong Yu said coldly. His body flashed as he charged toward the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor in a streak of light. At the same time, he threw another punch at the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor. 1,000-army elephant drawing fist. The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor sneered as he said, "Brat, I don't know where you get your strength from, but you're going to die today. After all, I'm a titled Celestial Emperor, and you're just a Celestial Duke," the heaven-piercing Celestial Emperor said with a sneer. Then, he sent a palm strike forward. It was an ordinary palm strike that did not contain any battle technique. This was because, despite Murong Yu's display of strength, the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor still viewed him as a mere immortal monarch. He could easily crush a Celestial Duke with a palm strike. Why would he need to use any battle techniques? Bang! Crack! The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor was shocked when he saw Murong Yu's attack. This time, not only was his strength destroyed by Murong Yu, but one of his arms was also destroyed by Murong Yu. "Junior, I'll kill you!" The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor was furious. Rumble! A terrifying aura surged out of his body and swept out in all directions like a raging wave. The energy of 400,000 Earth Dragons appeared above his head, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Their aura was so powerful that it shook the heavens. Rumble! 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 The mountains around the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor were reduced to dust in just a blink of an eye. With a surge of energy, the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor's shattered arm grew back. The heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor roared as he threw a punch forward. Heaven-piercing divine fist, mountain and river shatter. In an instant, millions of mountains and rivers appeared in the surrounding space, shattering and emitting a terrifying aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. The aura rushed towards Murongyu in an attempt to crush him. Heaven-piercing immortal emperor, you must be looking down on me. Do you think it's humiliating to use a battle technique against a mere celestial duke? I'll show you what true strength is. Dragon strength, appear. Murongyu let out a loud roar as his body violently shook. In just a blink of an eye, numerous earth dragons that were 10 times more condensed than the heaven-piercing celestial emperor's earth dragons appeared above his head, blotting out the sky and blotting out the sun. Rumble! 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 500,000 coiling dragon force. Every earth dragon is more condensed than mine. How is this possible? You're just a celestial duke. This is impossible. I don't believe it. The heaven-piercing immortal emperor roared. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Murongyu sneered. Raging mountain and river shatter. Murongyu roared as he stomped his foot. Bang! 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 As for the heaven-piercing immortal emperor's mountain and river shatter, the mountains and rivers simply couldn't withstand Murongyu's attack and were shattered by the force of his attack. After shattering these energies, Murongyu's energy converged into a torrent of energy. It shattered the void, crossed millions of spacetime, and charged towards the sky-piercing immortal emperor. Heaven-piercing divine fist, I am heaven and earth. Rumble! The heaven-piercing immortal emperor roared furiously as he spread his hands apart and struck out. At this moment, the heaven-piercing immortal emperor seemed to have become one with heaven and earth. Although he was right in front of Murongyu, it was as though he didn't exist. Heaven and earth were the heaven-piercing immortal emperor, and the heaven-piercing immortal emperor was heaven and earth. At the same time, Murongyu felt as though he had entered an independent world. Every inch of space around him was filled with killing intent as though it was trying to kill him. He was like a parasite that was repelled by this world. A disdainful smile could be seen on Murongyu's face. The heaven-piercing immortal emperor's move was based on the power of space. If it were someone else, even a titled celestial emperor who was as strong as the heaven-piercing immortal emperor, the heaven-piercing immortal emperor would have killed him with this move. However, it was a pity that he met Murongyu. Murongyu had mastered the law of space. Xi formula! Rumble! Murongyu let out a low roar. Immediately, with his body as the center, waves of energy rippled out and seeped into the space. Immediately, the void began to shatter like crystals, spreading out in all directions. Chapter 706 Puff. The violent power spread out in all directions at an incomparably fast speed. Large patches of space began to collapse. The Lord of Tongtian had only used the power of space to temporarily merge with space. If it was an ordinary person, they would not be a match for the Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor. However, he met Murongyu. Murongyu's control of space was tens of thousands of times stronger than the Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor. The Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor was shaken out of the void. Moreover, the heaven-piercing Immortal Emperor was heavily injured by Murongyu's spatial energy. Murongyu's attack had heavily injured him. You! The Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked at Murongyu in disbelief. What? Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor, if you stay in Tongtian, Immortal Emperor, and don't provoke me, I won't do anything to you. However, since you're here to seek death, don't blame me for being merciless. Murongyu sneered. He took a step forward and crushed millions of spacetime. Then, he punched out, intending to kill the Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor. Junior, I admit that I have underestimated you. However, it's impossible for you to kill me. The Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor roared. Divine light flashed on his body, and a powerful aura burst out. Just when Murong Yu thought that the Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor, would defeat him again, the Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor, turned around and flew away in a flash of light. The Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor, fled without a fight. Murong Yu was stunned. However, Murong Yu sneered in his heart. Asterisk swoosh. Asterisk, a pair of illusory light wings abruptly appeared on Murong Yu's back and flapped violently. Then, Murong Yu disappeared from where he stood. Asterisk swoosh. Asterisk swoosh. Asterisk swoosh. Asterisk, the Lord of Tongtian, Immortal Emperor, unleashed his fastest speed. He was like a ray of light in the void. In an instant, he was far away from Feng Prefecture and crossed countless prefectures. This kid is so strong. I miscalculated this time. However, you want to kill me? You're still too inexperienced. After I break through, I'll kill you again. I'll let you be arrogant for now. At that time, Hichu Luoshu will still be mine. After crossing several continents, the sky-reaching Celestial Emperor did not stop. Instead, he continued to fly forward. However, he felt that he had already shaken off Murong Yu. Is that so? At this moment, a calm voice rang out from behind him. The heaven-reaching Celestial Emperor was shocked. He turned his head abruptly and said with a horrified expression, "You, Murong Yu, how did you catch up with me?" Impossible. When the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor turned around, he saw Murong Yu following behind him. He kept a certain distance from him, as if he was taking a stroll in his courtyard. Furthermore, Murong Yu must have heard everything he just said. The funniest thing was that he did not notice Murong Yu behind him. He thought that he had shaken off Murong Yu. From this point alone, one could see how big the gap between the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor and Murong Yu was. 1,000 Whirlpool, 10,000 Claws. Murong Yu attacked. His claw tore through space and time as he clawed at the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor. Suddenly, hundreds of millions of giant claws appeared between heaven and earth. They spun rapidly like vortexes that contained a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth. They rapidly strangled the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor from all directions. The heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor's face was filled with despair. He roared, "Heaven-reaching Divine Fist! World destruction!" A doomsday-like aura erupted from the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor. It shattered the void and directly bombarded Murong Yu. At the same time, the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor stopped running away. Instead, he turned into a stream of light and rushed toward Murong Yu. Rumble! The power of the two sides collided violently. Bursts of earth-shattering sounds rang out. The void was constantly shattered, and the power of the two sides was constantly annihilated. Alas, the gap between their strength was still too big. There was a difference of 100,000 Earth Dragons' strength. The strength of 100,000 Earth Dragons was enough to crush the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor. Swoosh! 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 The power released by the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor was instantly shattered. Due to the continuous shattering of his attack, the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor was severely injured. Swoosh! Murong Yu charged forward and punched the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor's chest. A tremendous force gushed out, shattering the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor's chest. Die, heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor! You'll be the first titled Celestial Emperor I've killed. You should feel honored. Murong Yu's cold voice rang in the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor's ears as he stabbed his hand into the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor's dantian. Explode! You destroyed my dantian! The heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor screamed in agony. His dantian had been shattered by Murong Yu's attack. In just a blink of an eye, the heaven-reaching Immortal Emperor was reduced to a cripple. The dantian was where Celestials stored their strength. Once their dantian was destroyed, their cultivation base would vanish, and they would become a cripple. In fact, it was not so easy to destroy a person's dantian. In fact, the dantian was the strongest part of a celestial. After all, the dantian was everything to them. If the dantian was too weak and could be easily destroyed, would it not be dangerous for them? They could become a cripple at any time. For this reason, every celestial would instinctively protect their dantian and strengthen it. Take the heaven-reaching immortal emperor for example. Even someone as strong as him would not be able to destroy his dantian. The reason why Murong-yu could destroy his dantian so easily was because Murong-yu was much stronger than him. Moreover, the heaven-reaching immortal emperor had been severely injured by Murong-yu. Not only that, but you will also die, Murong-yu said indifferently. Then, he slapped the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's head. The heaven-reaching immortal emperor's head was smashed like a rotten watermelon. Even his soul was shattered by Murong-yu. Big black dog. Murong-yu grabbed at the air. In the next moment, the big black dog was pulled out of the Hichu Luoshu world. Woof! The big black dog had just come out. Before he knew what was going on, he saw a powerful corpse in front of him. This is the corpse of the heaven-reaching immortal emperor. Although his dantian has been destroyed, his body still contains a lot of power. After you devour it, your cultivation base should increase dramatically, Murong-yu said indifferently after taking the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's storage ring. Woof! That's great. A titled celestial emperor. I've never eaten something so delicious before. The big black dog was so excited that he drooled. Then, he opened his mouth and swallowed the heaven-reaching immortal emperor. The poor heaven-reaching immortal emperor, a titled celestial emperor, was swallowed by a dog. It was truly lamentable, and Murong-yu was truly too savage. Woof woof woof. After swallowing the heaven-reaching immortal emperor, the big black dog's body swelled up like a balloon. At the same time, powerful auras surged out of his body. Although the heaven-reaching immortal emperor was dead, his body still contained a lot of power. How could the big black dog devour his body? The heaven-reaching immortal emperor, who claimed to be able to devour a myriad of worlds, was still too weak. He might even explode from the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's power. Murong-yu waved his hand, and the two of them disappeared from where they were standing. When they reappeared, they were already in the Hichu Luoshu world. Time acceleration. Old Black, I'll help you refine the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body now. Once you refine him, your strength will skyrocket. As he spoke, Murong-yu placed his palm on the big black dog's head. Violent energy surged into the big black dog's body as he began to refine the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body. Although the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body was powerful, he was still no match for Murong-yu when he was alive, let alone a corpse. Under Murong-yu's refinement, the heaven-span celestial emperor's corpse was continuously refined, turning into streams of energy that entered the large black dog's body and was absorbed by him. Boom, boom, boom. A series of loud booms continuously rang out from the large black dog's body as waves of powerful auras continuously emanated from it. The big black dog's cultivation base was constantly increasing. He was now a late-stage celestial duke. It did not take long for the big black dog to become a late-stage celestial duke. At this time, less than 1/10 of the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body had been refined. As the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body continued to be refined, his energy was continuously devoured by the big black dog. Finally, 50 years later, an explosive sound erupted from the big black dog's body. The barrier between cultivation bases was directly broken, and he became the first person to become a celestial emperor among Murong-yu and the others. However, at this time, only a small part of the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body had been refined. Only about 3/10 had been refined. The remaining 7/10 should be enough for the big black dog to break through to the celestial emperor stage, Murong-yu murmured as he continued to refine the corpse. 100 years later, the big black dog's strength had already reached the peak of the early stage Celestial Emperor stage. 200 years later, the big black dog's cultivation base had not broken through. However, 60% of the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body had been refined. 500 years later, 80% of the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body had been refined. Meanwhile, the big black dog's energy had also accumulated to the peak. It was possible that he could break through to the intermediate stage of the Celestial Emperor stage at any time. 700 years later, the heaven-reaching immortal emperor's body had finally been refined and became part of the big black dog's energy. 800 years later, the big black dog finally broke through the bottleneck of his cultivation base and broke through to the intermediate stage of the Celestial Emperor stage. His strength had skyrocketed. At this time, only a day had passed in the celestial realm. Woof! The intermediate stage of the Celestial Emperor stage. I've never felt so powerful before, the big black dog roared excitedly. Immediately after, his eyes sparkled as he looked at Murong-Yu. Master, I think I can teach you a lesson now, the big black dog said with a chuckle. The large black dog laughed mischievously. With a flash of his body, he charged toward Murong-Yu and swatted his paw at him. Is that so? A smile appeared on Murong-Yu's face as he threw a punch at the big black dog. Boom! After a deafening explosion, the big black dog cried out in pain as he was sent flying by Murong-Yu's punch. Although he had broken through to the intermediate stage of the Celestial Emperor stage, there was still a huge gap between him and Murong-Yu. Although the big black dog was strong enough to contend with a titled Celestial Emperor, he was still a far cry from Murong-Yu. Chapter 707. There was a resounding boom as the large black dog crashed heavily into a towering mountain that stretched hundreds of thousands of kilometers into the clouds. A powerful force radiated from the large black dog's body. Instantly, this endless mountain range was silently reduced to fine powder, instantly flattened. Woof! The big black dog barked and spat out a mouthful of sand. However, at this moment, a big hand pierced through the void and quickly pressed down. The big black dog was startled. Its figure swayed, and with a whoosh, it turned into a wisp of black light and shot into the distance. However, that huge hand was like a shadow that was attached to the body, and it grabbed down fiercely like a gangrene attached to the bone. Then, it grabbed the big black dog and sealed him at the same time. Old Black, how is it? Do you still want to torture me? Murong-Yu looked at the big black dog in front of him with a smile on his face. Pervert! The large black dog gave Murong-Yu a deep look before uttering these two words. All right, you can consolidate your cultivation here. If you want to torture me, I'm afraid you won't have any hope in this lifetime, Murong-Yu said with a smile. At the same time, his figure flashed and he left the place. Although the big black dog had reached the intermediate stage of the immortal emperor realm, his strength was stronger than ordinary experts at the peak of the late stage of the immortal emperor realm. In fact, he was not inferior to the young master of the immortal palace and the young master of the saints sect, who were both at the late stage of the immortal emperor realm. However, there was still a big gap between his strength and Murong-Yu's. After Murong-Yu appeared in his own manner in the heavenly penalty palace, his expression changed slightly. Although the manner was the same as before, there were some outsiders in the manner now. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Not long after Murong-Yu's figure appeared, more than 10 powerful auras rushed out of the manor. More than 10 experts immediately surrounded Murong-Yu in the middle. All of them looked at Murong-Yu with a serious expression. At this moment, Butler Ma and the others walked out of the manor. Accompanying Butler Ma was an expert at the late stage of the immortal emperor realm. A cold light flashed across Murong-Yu's brows. He realized that Steward Ma's power had been sealed. In other words, the other party was controlling Steward Ma and the others. Palace Master. Steward Ma smiled bitterly. He wanted to bow to Murong-Yu, but he couldn't do it, because he had been imprisoned. Given his heavenly high immortal realm cultivation, there was no way he would be able to put up a fight at all. Murong Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light, and a terrifying killing intent spread out, covering the entire manor. His heart skipped a beat as he figured out what was going on. "Everyone, what is the meaning of breaking into my manor?" Murong Yu held his hands behind his back and looked at the crowd with an indifferent expression. However, the murderous intent in the depths of his eyes grew sharper. "Murong Yu, Supreme Elder Yan Yu has ordered you to meet him immediately after you return." An intermediate immortal emperor shouted at Murong Yu. "Yan Yu." Murong Yu's heart was filled with a strong killing intent. "I will naturally meet him. However, before I meet him, I have to solve a problem. You broke into my manor and kidnapped my people. Do you know your crimes?" "Haha." Hearing Murong Yu's words, the crowd couldn't help but laugh. Then, an expert at the early stage of the immortal emperor realm took a step forward and looked at Murong Yu with disdain. He said coldly, "We can do whatever we want. Kid, go meet Yan Yu immediately. Otherwise, your people will die, and your heavenly court will be destroyed. Those who break into the manor without the master's permission will die. Today, all of you will die." Murong Yu glanced at the crowd indifferently. "You? How dare an ant-like existence be so arrogant? In that case, I will teach you a lesson and let you know what power is." As he spoke, the expert at the early stage of the immortal emperor realm took a step forward and punched towards Murong Yu. "You are courting death," Murong Yu said disdainfully. He stood still and didn't even look at the immortal emperor who attacked him. Bang! The expert at the early stage of the immortal emperor realm punched Murong Yu's body. There was a loud bang, but Murong Yu didn't move at all. Even his clothes didn't move. On the contrary, the immortal emperor who attacked him was sent flying. "What? How is this possible?" The immortal emperor shouted and looked at Murong Yu in disbelief. In his mind, Murong Yu, an immortal monarch, should have been sent flying by his punch and vomited blood. This was because he didn't dare to use his full strength for fear of killing Murong Yu. However, Murong Yu didn't move at all. This shocked him and everyone else present. "Roar!" The immortal emperor shouted and took a step forward. He punched again. He didn't believe that this was real. However, the moment he made his move, bang! Suddenly, the early stage immortal emperor exploded and turned into a cloud of blood mist. "No!" The early stage immortal emperor shouted and disappeared from the world. He didn't even know how he died. Everyone present, with the exception of Murong Yu, had expressions of shock on their faces when they saw such a bizarre scene. Even the expert at the late stage immortal emperor realm beside housekeeper Ma felt his heart tighten. His big hand subconsciously grabbed housekeeper Ma's neck. He'd already figured out why that early-stage immortal emperor had suddenly exploded. It was because when he attacked Murong Yu had rebounded all of his power back to him. In fact, Murong Yu's power was several hundred to 1,000 times stronger than his attack. He was confident that he could kill the early-stage immortal emperor easily. However, he couldn't do it like this. Shocking, absolutely shocking. Everyone present was stunned. Hence, when Murong Yu looked over, they were so frightened that they took a few steps back. "A bunch of trash." Murong Yu's face was full of disdain. "Murong Yu, you dare to kill your fellow sect member. You're dead meat. The sect will punish you." An immortal emperor suddenly shouted at Murong Yu. "Punish me?" Murong Yu suddenly laughed. At the same time, his body swayed. A blood-curdling scream rang out. The immortal emperor who spoke suddenly exploded. Everyone was shocked once again. They had no idea how that person had died. This was because they only saw Murong Yu's body swaying. In fact, that person was killed by Murong Yu with a single punch. However, Murong Yu's speed was simply too fast. Every time he went back and forth, he was so fast that the trash present couldn't even see him. "Run!" Seeing how ferocious Murong-yu was, everyone present was scared out of their wits. They shouted and wanted to escape. However, at this moment, Murong-yu's indifferent voice sounded in their ears. None of you can escape. Die for me. At the same time, Murong-yu attacked. His body swayed and he appeared in front of an immortal emperor. Then, he punched out. Bang! This immortal emperor didn't even have time to react. He was already beaten into a mist of blood by Murong-yu. Then, Murong-yu took a step forward and appeared behind an intermediate stage immortal emperor. He stretched out his hand and it turned into a dragon claw. He grabbed the head of this immortal emperor. Then, the power of his 5 fingers exploded and he directly crushed this immortal emperor. Then, Murong-yu used 2 of his fingers as a sword and slashed down. An early stage immortal emperor was split into 2 just like that. It was to the extent that even his soul had been split into 2, and he couldn't be any more dead. In an instant, Murong-yu killed 10 immortal emperors. These were 10 immortal emperors, not 10 heaven immortals. They were all big shots in the immortal world, top experts. However, in front of Murong-yu, they were like ants. They were killed one by one like vegetables. Plop! Don't kill me. I am willing to be your slave. I will never betray you. Seeing how majestic Murong-yu was, one of the immortal emperors collapsed. He actually knelt down and begged Murong-yu to spare his life. After one of them knelt down, the rest of them also knelt down. Their bodies were trembling. They all knew that it was impossible for them to escape from a fiend like Murong-yu. Although Murong-yu was only an immortal monarch, they were immortal emperors. Their dignity didn't allow them to kneel. However, for their lives, so what if they gave up their dignity? Trash! What use do I have for you? Murong-yu snorted and waved his hand. Bang! 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 The few immortal emperors who knelt on the ground exploded into clouds of blood mist. These immortals weren't very strong. Even though their realms were very high, their strength was only so. They were the weakest among the immortal emperors. However, they were immortal emperors after all. They were powerful. If they were outside, they could establish a super first-rate force. However, these people were too spineless. They knelt down when they saw that they were no match for Murong-yu. If Murong-yu took them in, if they met someone as powerful in the future, wouldn't they also kneel down to show their allegiance? That would be a disgrace to Murong-yu. Therefore, Murong-yu killed them directly. In any case, these people were evil people. Killing them could earn him star points. Now, there was only one person left. The strongest immortal emperor. However, his hand was on Steward Ma's neck. As long as he released his power, Steward Ma would die without a burial place. Murong-yu looked at him indifferently. The immortal emperor felt a chill in his heart. He looked at Murong-yu with a pale face and shouted, "Murong-yu, don't come over. Otherwise, Steward Ma will die." "Is that so? Are you sure?" Murong-yu smiled and took a step forward. "Stop. If you take another step forward, I'll kill Steward Ma." The immortal emperor shouted fiercely. "If you can kill him, you're capable. However, you don't have the ability to do so." Murong-yu faintly smiled as his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. The immortal emperor shouted in his heart. He exerted force and was about to kill Steward Ma. However, at this moment, his vision suddenly turned black. Then, he couldn't see anything and completely lost consciousness. Chapter 708. If it was before Murong-yu's breakthrough, Steward Ma wouldn't have dared to make a move as he would be threatened by the opponent. But now, Murong-yu's dragon force had reached 500,000. As for the late-stage immortal emperor who kidnapped Steward Ma, he was just an ordinary person who only had a few tens of thousands of dragon force. The difference between him and Murong-yu was just too big. Once Murong-yu made a move, he could kill the opponent directly, even if the opponent kidnapped Steward Ma. But in front of Murong-yu, he didn't even have the chance to make a move. After killing the late-stage immortal emperor, Murong Yu slapped Steward Ma's body, instantly removing the seal on him. Palace Lord. Steward Ma looked at Murong Yu with a guilty expression and was about to apologize. Don't say any more. I've implicated you in this matter. Murong Yu said faintly, his eyes flickering with cold light. Although he had killed these people, there was still someone behind them. Yen Yu. Killing these people was just an insignificant matter. The main thing was Yen Yu, the immortal venerable. However, although Yen Yu was only an early-stage immortal venerable, he was still an immortal venerable expert. With Murong Yu's current strength, he could barely contend against him, but it would be difficult to kill him. Palace Lord, now that you've killed so many of Yen Yu's men, I'm afraid Yen Yu will be furious and attack you again. Steward Ma said with a gloomy face. Murong Yu's eyebrows flashed with a cold light. This isn't the first time Yen Yu has attacked me directly. If it was possible, he would have attacked me the moment I returned. However, he didn't attack me, but sent these insignificant people. I think he must have some scruples now, which is why he doesn't dare to attack me. The news of me possessing the Hichu Luoshu has probably spread throughout the immortal world. Now everyone will be eager to make a move. Even the Heavenly Punisher Palace is the same. The reason why Yen Yu doesn't dare to attack me directly is because there's someone else controlling him secretly. After all, everyone wants to obtain the Hichu Luoshu. If Yen Yu directly makes a move, the other experts will also make a move. At that time, there would be a fight, and the entire Heavenly Punisher Palace would be destroyed. Therefore, they won't directly take action. However, I'm afraid that many people have the same idea as Yen Yu, who wants to take down the people around him. Murong Yu instantly guessed the reason why Yen Yu didn't make a move. Palace Lord, are we still going to meet that Yen Yu now? The other party will definitely not let you off. Why should I? Murong Yu sneered. With his current strength, Yen Yu could not kill him. However, if he went to Yen Yu's place, there might be some traps waiting for him. If he went there, it would definitely be a tragedy. Moreover, perhaps Yen Yu and the other powerhouses had joined forces and were waiting for him to deliver himself to their doorstep? Although Murong Yu was confident, he was not arrogant. He would never take the risk if he wasn't confident. However, Murong Yu frowned slightly. You can't continue to stay here. Steward Ma, gather the people. I want to take all of you away. Although Murong Yu said that he had not broken off relations with the Heavenly Punisher Palace, in fact, he had already broken off relations with the Heavenly Punisher Palace. As for Steward Ma and the others, Murong Yu would not let them stay here. Once they really broke off relations, Steward Ma and the others would definitely be killed by the Heavenly Punisher Palace. With the strength of Steward Ma and the others, they would not even have the chance to resist. Is this okay? Steward Ma's face revealed a trace of difficulty. As the steward of the manor in the Heavenly Punisher Palace, they could not leave the Heavenly Punisher Palace for the rest of their lives. Otherwise, it would be a violation of the Heavenly Punisher Palace's rules. There's nothing wrong with it. The people in the Heavenly Punisher Palace are all vicious and merciless. If they can't find me, they will definitely make a move on you. Therefore, you should leave the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Although the stewards of the Heavenly Punisher Palace cannot leave the Heavenly Punisher Palace, there will be a day when I will destroy this Heavenly Punisher Palace. Murong Yu said indifferently. Steward Ma pondered for a moment, then finally clenched his teeth and turned to leave. Not long after, everyone in the manor was gathered by him. Then, Murong Yu waved his hand and put these people into the Hichu Luoshu world. However, just as he was about to put Steward Ma into the Hichu Luoshu world, a strange change suddenly occurred. Rumble. Suddenly, a burst of heaven and earth-shattering sound was heard. Waves of incomparably terrifying power covered the sky and covered the earth. Murong Yu was shocked. He thought that the experts of the Heavenly Punisher Palace could not help but make a move on him. He immediately raised his strength to the limit and was about to escape into the Hichu Luoshu world. But at this moment, he suddenly saw a huge hand stretching across the horizon and covering half the sky, stretching out from an unknown location in the immortal world. It tore through space and time and grabbed towards the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace. It covered the sky and covered the earth. After the appearance of the huge hand, the entire sky darkened and the sun and moon changed color. It was not that the heaven and earth changed color, but that the huge hand was too big. It covered the heaven and earth and the stars, even the light was covered. The entire heavenly Punisher Palace was covered. Wherever the huge hand passed, large pieces of the void began to shatter. The terrifying power of the huge hand shook it until it could not heal. The huge hand emitted a terrifying aura, shaking the heaven and earth and suppressing the 10,000 worlds. At this moment, the people of the heavenly Punisher Palace almost knelt down and submitted to this huge hand. What a terrifying opponent! It actually tore through the void and grabbed towards the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace. Could it be that God has made a move? When he saw the huge hand that stretched across the sky, Murongyu was shocked. The first thing that appeared in his mind was the resurrected God. No, it should not be that God. Although this aura is somewhat familiar, it is definitely not that God. That God's aura is very berserk and filled with brutality and bloodthirst. Although the power of this huge hand is strong, it does not have that kind of brutality. Although it is filled with killing intent, it is not berserk. But who is it? They actually directly attacked the heavenly Punisher Palace? But this is also good. Now I want to see what kind of expert is hidden in the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace. Murongyu pondered in his heart. Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind in the blink of an eye. Everything happened in an instant. Which madman dares to invade the heavenly Punisher Palace? You don't know the difference between life and death. A loud roar came from the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace. The power was great and the aura shook the heaven and earth. At the same time, a huge hand fiercely shot up from the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace. A claw fiercely bombarded the huge hand that was grabbing down from the void. The two huge hands fiercely bombarded together. In an instant, an earth-shattering sound erupted. With a loud bang, the huge hand that shot up into the sky from the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace suddenly shattered. Following that, there was a muffled groan. Presumably, the expert who attacked was already injured. However, the huge hand that stretched across the sky only paused for a moment. Then, it continued to grab. You are courting death. You overestimate yourself. Arrogant. Angry voices rang out one after another. Those experts of the heavenly Punisher Palace were completely enraged. Immediately, numerous large hands soared into the sky and bombarded that large hand. Some experts even traced the direction of the huge hand and bombarded it in an attempt to kill the expert who was at an unknown location in the immortal world. Facing more than 10 powerful immortal venerables, the huge hand paused in the void for a moment. Then, it opened up and turned into a monstrous giant palm. Then, it fiercely slammed down. Hong long both sides bombarded each other with incomparable speed. However, the firmament in the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace was instantly torn apart. Large patches of it began to be annihilated. Even the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace that was protected by a grand array was shattered by this terrifying force. What a thief! A furious roar came from the depths of the heavenly Punisher Palace. The dozen of huge hands were shattered in an instant. At the same time, the gigantic hand that was coming down from the sky dimmed from the bombardment, almost becoming transparent. Its strength was almost exhausted. After all, although this huge hand was powerful, it was too far away from the heavenly Punisher Palace. Moreover, so many experts of the heavenly Punisher Palace were unable to shatter this huge hand in the first place. It was imaginable how terrifying this huge hand was. The monstrous huge hand was about to dissipate due to the loss of its strength. However, at this moment the huge hand shook violently and disappeared in an instant. However, a smaller hand appeared out of thin air. Asterisk swish. Asterisk the huge hand shook violently and immediately traversed through countless space-time and went straight into the depths of the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Ah! Die for me! Die for me! Almost at the same time, an incomparably horrified roar came from the depths of the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Then, with a loud bang, a cloud of blood mist came out from the depths of the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Asterisk Hong Long Long. Asterisk almost at the same time, the heavens and earth changed color. Blood clouds rolled in the sky. Streaks of blood-red lightning constantly struck down, enveloping the entire Heavenly Punisher Palace. An immortal venerable has fallen. Seeing this scene, most of the people in the Heavenly Punisher Palace were shocked. That huge hand came across the sky, smashed apart the obstruction of countless experts of the Heavenly Punisher Palace, and killed an immortal venerable. Shock, horror. This person is too fierce. Murong Yu's eyes lit up. He felt that this person was too powerful. Yen Yu, you are a dignified immortal venerable expert, an elder of the Heavenly Punisher Palace, but for your own selfish interests, you repeatedly attacked my disciple Murong Yu. Damn it, I will kill you today. At the same time, I'd like to advise everyone in the Heavenly Punisher Palace once again. If anyone dares to make a move against Murong Yu, they'll be making an enemy out of me, Yang Lin. Yang Lin's booming voice resounded in the ears of everyone in the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Yang Lin, an expert of the Heavenly Punisher Palace. It was said that he was also an elder or a protector of the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Although the previous enforcer of the Huaxiao world of self-cultivators did not have a master-disciple relationship with Murong Yu, in fact, every enforcer was a master-disciple. It's actually the old man? When did the old man become so powerful? Murong Yu was also stunned. He felt that it was inconceivable. However, he soon smiled. His strength had increased so quickly. Of course, others could do it too. Chapter 709. Yang Lin, you are also a member of the Heavenly Retribution Palace. You actually killed a Supreme Elder of the Heavenly Retribution Palace. You are flouting the rules of the sect. A furious roar came. The speaker was obviously very angry. Rules of the sect? Do you people even care about the rules of the sect? In short, whoever dares to attack my disciple, once I find out, I will kill them, no matter who it is. I'm warning you old guys, don't think that I don't know what you are thinking. If you don't want to die, don't do those little tricks. Yang Lin's domineering and murderous voice came out, resounding in the ears of everyone in the Heavenly Retribution Palace. Soon after, that huge hand completely disappeared. No one knew where Yang Lin was. However, they all knew that Yang Lin must be the big hand that reached out from afar. Was this Qi? He was blatantly protecting Murong Yu. With Yang Lin's strong deterrence, Murong Yu should be safer. Even if it was only on the surface, Yang Lin's strength was really too strong. He was probably the first expert in history to force his way into the depths of the Heavenly Retribution Palace. He destroyed the attacks of countless experts, killed a Supreme Elder, and threatened the Heavenly Retribution Palace before leaving. Such behavior had long suppressed the entire Heavenly Retribution Palace. Too domineering. Murong Yu looked at the depths of the Heavenly Retribution Palace, speechless for a long time. After a long time, he let out a sigh. He always thought that he was very domineering, but he didn't expect that the old man was even more domineering than him. He was really dominating the world. At this time, the entire sect was silent. Even the depths of the Heavenly Retribution Palace were silent. There was no other way. For the time being, there was no one in the Heavenly Retribution Palace who could do anything to Yang Lin. Perhaps there were still some old antiques in the Heavenly Retribution Palace who needed a beating who hadn't made a move. Perhaps these people could resist Yang Lin. However, these people were the last pillars of the heavenly retribution palace. They wouldn't make a move unless it was a matter of life and death. Moreover, although Yang Lin was arrogant and violent, he wasn't an enemy after all. He was a member of the heavenly retribution palace. These people wouldn't make a move against Yang Lin. Palace Master, you should be safe now. At least no one in the heavenly retribution palace dares to do anything to you. Steward Ma said with a smile. Not necessarily. This way, on the surface, these people won't do anything to me. But in the dark, these people are probably even more ruthless. However, I'm not afraid of these people. Now the old man was keeping them in check. Give me some time, and I won't be afraid of them at all. Morong Yu said indifferently. At the same time, he waved his hand and put housekeeper Ma into the Hichu Luoshu. Then, he disappeared. Not long after they disappeared, a group of people appeared in Morong Yu's manor. However, this place was already empty. Morong Yu would probably never return. In fact, if it wasn't for Steward Ma, Morong Yu would never have returned to the Heavenly Punishing Palace. He had no sense of belonging to the Heavenly Punisher Palace. Steward Ma, do you have any news about the other enforcers? In a large hall in Hichu Luoshu, Morong Yu sat down while housekeeper Ma stood respectfully beside him. Holy Lord, I do have information on a few people, but there are still quite a few punishers that I can't find out anything about. The immortal realm is too big. It's extremely difficult to get information about them. Moreover, if they hide in the cultivation realm and don't come out, I can't do anything. Morong Yu nodded. The Yen Huang immortal realm had 36 cultivation realms under its jurisdiction. He now controlled 4 cultivation realms, and there were still 32 cultivation realms left. He had a feeling that if he could control all the cultivation realms in the Yen Huang immortal realm, there would be some unpredictable changes in his body. Perhaps his strength would skyrocket? Perhaps his talent would be raised to an extremely terrifying level? Or perhaps it would be in other aspects. Feng Ro, the enforcer of the mysterious sky immortal realm, appeared in Kong province recently. Feng Ro? The image of a woman suddenly appeared in Morong Yu's mind. The mysterious sky immortal realm and the Huaxia immortal realm had a good relationship. Of course, this only referred to the relationship between their previous enforcer, Yang Lin, and Luo Yang. When it came to Morong Yu's generation, Morong Yu and Feng Ro didn't interact much. But at the very least, they were friends. If Morong Yu wanted to kill Feng Ro, the old man probably wouldn't agree. Moreover, Feng Ro wasn't a bad person. Morong Yu couldn't kill her. This Feng Ro has some history with me. I won't touch her for now. Is there any news of the others? Morong Yu said calmly. He wouldn't touch Feng Ro now. However, if he decided to control the 36 cultivation realms in the Yen Huang immortal realm, he would definitely make a move on Feng Ro. Of course, if it wasn't necessary, Morong Yu wouldn't kill Feng Ro. However, Morong Yu had to get Feng Ro's Jiuxuan immortal realm. Deng Tian, the Shenluo immortal realm. He appeared in Mo province not long ago. Ming Yan, the enforcer of the Bright King immortal realm. He caught a glimpse of her in Ping province. Steward Ma reported all the information he had to Morong Yu. Morong Yu nodded. Besides Feng Ro, he wasn't close to anyone else. Of course, there was no enmity between them. However, living in a world where strength was respected and fists were the truth, no enmity didn't mean no killing. Just like Morong Yu. In order to control the cultivation realms, the enforcers had to die. This was survival. Not to mention Morong Yu, anyone else would have done the same. Just like Morong Yu. He was now the enemy of the entire world. Did he have enmity with all these people? No. They were all coveting Morong Yu's treasures. In this world, if I don't kill, I'll be killed. This was the law of survival. Steward Ma, you will take over the Sky Palace's intelligence organization in the future. Integrate it with your own intelligence organization and help me manage it. Soon, they returned to the Sky Palaces. Although the strength of the Sky Palaces was still okay, it was developing too fast. The intelligence organization had never been able to keep up with the pace. It was relatively trashy. However, Steward Ma's intelligence organization was very developed. As long as Steward Ma integrated his intelligence organization into the Sky Palaces, the strength of the Sky Palaces would become even stronger. At this time, Morong Yu finally knew why Steward Ma's intelligence organization was so huge. This was because this organization wasn't formed by Steward Ma, but his father. It should be said that it was created by the enforcer of the heavenly punishing palace that his father followed. Now that the two of them had ascended to the divine realm, Housekeeper Ma naturally took over this intelligence organization. However, in the immortal realm, few people knew that Steward Ma actually had such a terrifying intelligence organization in his hands. This was because this organization had never been exposed. Otherwise, those ambitious people in the heavenly punishing palace would have already made a move on Steward Ma. Integrate the intelligence organization into the Sky Palaces? Steward Ma naturally had no objections. It could even be said that he had always been loyal to Morong Yu's steward. Of course, now he was still the head of Morong Yu's intelligence organization. He was directly responsible to Morong Yu. Of course, this integration didn't mean that the entire intelligence organization was integrated into the Sky Palaces. In fact, this intelligence organization was still the same as before. It was an independent organization. It just became a part of the Sky Palaces in name. A day later, a huge amount of intelligence was sent to Morong Yu. At this time, that god had completely disappeared. After this person left the divine tomb, he was almost killed by the immortal palace, devil sect, and other experts. Although he was successfully resurrected, he was seriously injured again. At this time, no one knew where he was hiding to recuperate. However, those big sects were still constantly looking for news of him. After all, this was a god. Once he recovered, the entire immortal realm wouldn't be his opponent. In particular, big forces like the Immortal Palace would be a thorn in his side. In addition to the news about this god, there was also news about Hichu Luoshu. Now, almost everyone coveted He-Tu and Luoshu, especially those big forces, such as the Immortal Palace. If they could get Hichu Luoshu, they wouldn't be afraid of that god. Even if that god could exert the power of a god, they wouldn't be afraid. At worst, they would move the whole sect to the Hichu Luoshu world. Therefore, these people were also determined to get Hichu Luoshu. However, at this time, the news that Morong Yu had killed the heaven-reaching immortal emperor, and that Yang Lin had made a scene in the depths of the heavenly penalty palace had also spread. Under the double threat, many people didn't dare to have any ideas about Morong Yu. At least, on the surface, this was the case. But once these people found the opportunity, they would definitely ruthlessly attack Morong Yu. Now, Morong Yu's enemies were those immortal emperors and those immortal venerables. The situation was grim. I don't know where the old man is. Otherwise, if he was in charge of the heavenly court, I'm afraid that no one would dare to come and make trouble. Morong Yu thought to himself as he strengthened the heavenly court's formation. However, the greater the pressure, the greater the motivation. Only when one is truly strong can one be considered strong. Relying on external forces is never the right way. The most important thing now is to earn enough star points to exchange for the emperor-breaking pill and kill the enforcers to improve my strength. Morong Yu muttered to himself. As long as he had enough emperor-breaking pills, a large number of immortal emperors would appear in the heavenly court. At that time, sweeping across the immortal world wouldn't be a problem. If Morong Yu wanted to quickly improve his cultivation speed, he could only kill the enforcers, take control of their cultivation world, and improve his talent. The higher his talent, the more understanding he would have of the chaotic celestial record, and the easier it would be for him to break through. Otherwise, it would take a very long time to break through to the next realm. Under the current circumstances, Morong-Yu couldn't wait any longer. He didn't have time. After strengthening the Heavenly Court's formation, Morong-Yu left a power clone in the Heavenly Court. This clone could handle all kinds of things. If something happened in the Heavenly Court, Morong-Yu would be the first to know. At that time, his main body could directly teleport back. Chapter 710. After leaving the Heavenly Court, Morong-Yu went straight to Emo-Jo. Emo-Jo was not the Emo-Jo that appeared in the Divine Tomb. At this moment, Emo-Jo had completely disappeared from the immortal world. Although the region was still there, it had been razed to the ground. It was no longer suitable for humans to live in, even for immortals. The reason why he went to Emo-Jo was because Morong-Yu wanted to kill Deng Tian. Deng Tian was the enforcer of the Shunluo immortal world. He was very powerful and had reached the late immortal emperor realm. Deng Tian's true strength was much stronger than an ordinary late immortal emperor realm expert. After all, he was the enforcer of the Shunluo immortal world. Although his talent was not as good as Morong-Yu's, it was still very terrifying. The other enforcer was called Ming Yen. She was the enforcer of the Ming King immortal world and was even stronger. She had already reached the early immortal venerable realm. Coupled with her identity as an enforcer, Morong-Yu did not doubt that she was stronger than Yen-Yu. After weighing the pros and cons, Morong-Yu ultimately decided to head to Majo. After all, he had to pick on the soft persimmon. However, Morong-Yu did not directly teleport over. Other than killing Deng Tian, the other reason he was going to Emo-Jo this time was to earn enough stars. Now, Morong-Yu had 30 billion stars. He only needed 20 billion more to reach 50 billion stars. Then, he could exchange for the Emperor-breaking pill. Perhaps it was because of the appearance of the Divine Tomb and the resurrection of a god, Morong-Yu was very happy to earn stars along the way. This was because there were many people in the immortal world walking around. Furthermore, because Morong-Yu's strength had increased, he was able to kill all the star-level villains they encountered along the way. Other than some extremely powerful late Immortal Emperor Realm experts, ordinary late Immortal Emperor Realm experts were unable to withstand a single blow from Morong-Yu. Morong-Yu could easily finish them off. Aside from this, Morong-Yu no longer held back when killing these evil men. Previously, he had been secretly killing these evil men. Now, he directly killed them. In any case, he had already changed his appearance. Those people all thought that it was the resurrected god who had attacked. After all, that god was now notorious in the cultivation world, who asked him to sacrifice countless immortals. Now, if there was a massacre somewhere, other people would immediately think of that god and think that it was done by that god. Because of this, countless people in the immortal world came out to stir up trouble and reap benefits in this chaotic world. Whoosh! Morong-Yu landed in a small city called Origin City. Actually, it was only a small city in comparison to the other prefectural cities. Although Origin City was small, it was many times bigger than Feng City. There were at least hundreds of billions of people. Before Morong-Yu even got close, he could already see that the city was shrouded in black chi from afar. There were too many evil men. Black halos were everywhere. The black halos of countless people gathered together and finally formed this scene. The weak white halos were fiercely suppressed, making them unable to raise their head. In fact, in the immortal world, every city, sect, and even small town was like this. In particular, those super cities had more evil men and higher stars. After all, in order to survive in this world, whose hands were not stained with the blood of many enemies, among the hundreds of billions of people, at least 1/3 of them have a star rating of more than 50 stars. If I can kill all of them, I might be able to earn billions of stars, Morong-Yu muttered to himself as he walked in Origin City. He was now stronger. On the contrary, after killing evil men, the stars he obtained correspondingly decreased by a lot. For example, when he killed a 50-star immortal monarch, he could obtain 10,000 stars. But now, if he killed someone of the same star rating and strength, he might only obtain 100 stars or even 10 stars. The stronger he was, the easier it was for him to kill evil men. However, the fewer stars he would obtain. Although I am much stronger, I can only kill one person. However, if he could kill one person in an instant, he would only be able to kill a few people in a day. If I can kill them all in one go. In the Origin City, the strongest person was a late-stage immortal emperor expert. If Murong Yu massacred the city, it was entirely possible for him to kill all of them. However, if he did that, it was very likely that he would not obtain any stars. Even the stars that he originally had might be deducted. After all, not everyone in Origin City was an evil person. There were also many good people. Moreover, Murong Yu's actions of massacring the city, what was the difference between him and an evil man? If I can take away the entire city, and then let go of those who are not worth killing, then wouldn't the remaining people all be evil men? Murong Yu suddenly had this thought. Take away the entire city. Hichu Luoshu. That's right, with my current strength, I should be able to take it away. Murong Yu was pleasantly surprised. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared from where he stood. When he reappeared, he was already above Origin City. However, he was hidden in the void. Although Origin City was a small city, its circumference had reached tens of millions of miles. It was very vast. Uprooting the entire city is not practical, and there is no need for that. As long as I take the entire city's people into the Hichu Luoshu world, I can kill all of those evil men. Murong Yu's divine telekinesis could now cover the entire Origin City. It could even cover a wider area. However, he could only cover it. He could not kill it directly. Otherwise, if Murong Yu's divine telekinesis covered the entire city, those evil men would be killed by him directly. Why would he need to go through the trouble of killing them one by one? Hichu Luoshu. Murong Yu roared in his heart and took out Hichu Luoshu. After the He-Tu and the Book of the Luo came out, they entered the void and merged with it. Then, under Murong Yu's control, it rapidly expanded in almost an instant. Hichu Luoshu had already enveloped the entire Origin City. Hichu Luoshu, devour the heavens and the earth. Devour everything for me. Murong Yu roared again. Immediately, Hichu Luoshu appeared. It covered the sky and covered the earth, enveloping the entire Origin City. In an instant, the entire Origin City was plunged into darkness. One could not even see their own fingers. At the same time, a huge suction force rushed out from the Hichu Luoshu world and acted on everyone. Ah! What's going on? In an instant, everyone in Origin City reacted. One by one, they were terrified. Some people were caught off guard and were sucked into the Hichu Luoshu world. However, some of the more powerful people resisted the suction force head-on. Some people even launched attacks. Rumble, terrifying auras erupted one after another. Waves of power came crashing down like raging waves, blasting into the void above. Murong Yu spat out a large mouthful of blood. There were hundreds of billions of immortals in Origin City. Even if only 1% of them reacted and attacked Hichu Luoshu, the power was still very terrifying. It was impossible for the He-Tu and the Luoshu to be destroyed by these people. However, the power had already exceeded the limits of what it could withstand. After exceeding this limit, Murong Yu, the master, bore the brunt of the power. Fortunately, Murong Yu's strength and physical strength were not what it used to be. He was much stronger than before, which was why he was not killed. However, if this continued, Murong Yu could only give up in the end. This was because more and more people reacted and began to attack Hichu Luoshu. No matter how strong Murong Yu was, there was still a limit to his strength. Tree of Life, operate to the limit. Use the power of life to repair the body. Infinite immortal meridians, burn for me! Murong Yu roared in his heart. As he controlled the power of life to repair his body, his large hand repeatedly grabbed at the void. Immediately, he grabbed large amounts of grade 9 immortal meridians from the heavenly punishment token and began to burn them. Rumble! Hichu Luoshu shook violently. Its power was raised to the limit and the suction force instantly increased tenfold. Whoosh! 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 Immediately, those who were able to resist the suction force and not get sucked in were no longer able to do so. They were sucked into the world of He-Tu and Luoshu. However, the attacks on Hichu Luoshu were millions of times stronger than before. In fact, Murong Yu had even taken out his feather armor. I can't take it anymore. If this continues, I'll be killed before I can collect all these villains. Those who can't meet the requirements can't be collected. Murong Yu's heart stirred. He immediately controlled the suction force of Hichu Luoshu and focused it on those who were of a higher grade. With fewer people, the power of the suction force was several times stronger than before. As a result, more and more people were quickly absorbed into the world of He-Tu and Luoshu. However, Murong Yu still saw that very few immortal emperors were absorbed into the Hichu Luoshu world. The resistance of these people was too strong. Moreover, the power of the Hichu Luoshu world was too scattered. However, it had not exceeded Murong Yu's limit yet. If he persevered this time, not only would he obtain a large amount of star points, but he would also create a better way to obtain star points. It would also allow his cultivation to progress further. He roared in his heart again. His hands repeatedly grabbed at the void. Suddenly, countless grade 9 immortal meridians were pulled out by him. They burned wildly and rapidly increased the power of Hichu Luoshu. Rumble! Hichu Luoshu shook violently again. Immediately, a huge black hole appeared in the sky above Origin City. It was like a prehistoric monster, eerie and terrifying. Chapter 7:11. An incomparably huge black hole suddenly appeared. It was actually bigger than the entire Origin City and emitted a terrifying aura. It swallowed the entire Origin City in one gulp, wanting to swallow the entire Origin City. Under Murong Yu's desperate efforts, an incomparably terrifying suction force erupted from the black hole. Instantly, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, the evil men locked onto by Murong Yu's divine thought were continuously sucked in. This time, it was different from before. Even immortal emperor experts could not resist this terrifying suction force. Of course, when these evil men were sucked in, some people felt their bodies loosen up. The suction force disappeared without a trace. These people immediately felt a little strange. However, seeing people around them being sucked in, they did not dare to relax. Hence, the attack continued. However, as a large number of evil men were sucked into the Hichu Luoshu world, Murong Yu encountered fewer and fewer attacks. The fewer the people, the fewer the attacks, and the less Murong Yu had to endure. However, at this moment, Murong Yu had almost reached his limit. This was because those people who were sucked in by him were constantly attacking him in the Hichu Luoshu world. It could be said that Hichu Luoshu was currently being attacked from two sides. If it was not for the fact that Hichu Luoshu was extremely powerful, if it was an ordinary magic treasure, even if it was a divine weapon, it would have been shattered. Time passed quickly. Every moment, hundreds of millions of people were sucked in. In the end, as the number of people locked onto by Murong Yu decreased, the suction force became stronger. In the end, even those experts in the advanced immortal emperor realm were directly sucked in. Of course, there was only one expert in the advanced immortal emperor realm in the entire Origin City. There were not many experts in the intermediate immortal emperor realm. Otherwise, Murong Yu would definitely not have dared to take such a risk. If there were too many top experts, he would be defeated. Hichu Luoshu absorb. Murong Yu roared in his heart. Immediately, Hichu Luoshu turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the horizon. At the same time, the entire Origin City regained its light. However, everyone in Origin City was dumbfounded. The surrounding buildings were in a mess, destroyed by their own attack. Moreover, many people discovered that many people around them had disappeared. What is it? Many experts in the Origin City were terrified. Some of them even flew up and left the Origin City. They felt that Origin City was too dangerous. Could it be that God has attacked us? They want to devour our entire city? Many people were terrified, but at the same time, this thought appeared in their minds. They couldn't be blamed for this. The appearance of the tomb of the gods and the cruelty of that god had deeply affected many immortals in the immortal world. Moreover, they also felt that only God could be so ferocious and powerful. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, a large number of immortals appeared in Origin City. These people were originally residents of Origin City and had been sucked into the black hole. But now it had appeared again. What's going on? Where did you go just now? You actually came back. The other party didn't kill you? Seeing the people who had disappeared suddenly return, many people had doubts in their hearts. I don't know either. In the beginning, we only felt that we were sucked into a place where we couldn't even see our fingers. However, not long after, a strong force spat us out. Then we saw you guys. Those people said with a puzzled expression. They didn't know what was going on either. These people were the ones who were released by Murong Yu. Some of them were good people, and some of them were neither good nor bad people. In fact, some of the people who weren't high villains were also released. After all, even if Murong Yu killed these people, he wouldn't be able to get any stars. Therefore, Murong Yu couldn't be bothered to kill them. Anyway, these people weren't very high villains, so he might as well let them go. As for the others, they weren't so lucky. After releasing those good people, Murong Yu began his massacre. Yes, it was a massacre. In the Hichu Luoshu world, he was the ruler. He could decide the life and death of these people with a single word. Of course, if the other party was much stronger than Murong Yu wouldn't be able to kill them directly. However, the strongest among these people was the expert in the late stage of the immortal Emperor realm. Murong Yu could kill a piece of trash with a slap. This level of trash posed no threat at all. Annihilation! Murong Yu shouted in his heart and grabbed at the void with his big hand. Instantly, the space where these people were bound began to be annihilated in large swathes. Those evil people who were sucked in didn't even have time to react before they were annihilated along with the space. Following the annihilation of these people, Murong Yu suddenly felt something incorporeal enter his body. These were the so-called star points. They couldn't be seen or touched, but they really existed. Congratulations, young master. You've obtained a total of 5 billion stars. Not long after, Butler Tian's voice sounded in Murong Yu's ears. 5 billion. Murong Yu nodded and a smile appeared on his face. This time, Murong Yu didn't count how many star-level evil people he had punished. However, after the incident, when the people in Origin City were counted, at least 2/5 of the people in Origin City disappeared on that day. 2/5. Origin City had a few 100 billion people to begin with. In other words, at least 200 billion evil people were killed by Murong Yu. In less than half a day, he had obtained so many stars. How could Murong Yu not be happy? If it was some other time and he killed them one by one, Murong Yu didn't know how many years it would take him to earn 50 billion stars. It's really satisfying to earn stars like this. However, the consumption is too high. If it were an ordinary person, they wouldn't be able to do it. Murong Yu sat cross-legged in the Hichu Luoshu world. As he accelerated time to heal his injuries, he pondered in his heart. There were a few indispensable conditions for his success this time. The first was the Hichu Luoshu. If there was no Hichu Luoshu, even a legendary weapon wouldn't be able to devour so many people. Of course, it was impossible to only have the Hichu Luoshu. It needed power to maintain it. The second condition was to have a large amount of resources, such as immortal meridians. Otherwise, even if there was only the Hichu Luoshu, it wouldn't be able to absorb it. Of course, if Murong-yu had enough power to control it, it would be a different matter. Perhaps when Murong-yu reached the Immortal Emperor realm, he could use the Hichu Luoshu to directly absorb an entire city like Origin City into the Hichu Luoshu world. Hichu Luoshu, a large amount of immortal meridians, powerful power. In the immortal world, only Murong-yu met these conditions. Therefore, he succeeded. However, the consumption of immortal meridians this time was too high. Even the immortal palace couldn't bear it. However, to Murong-yu, what he didn't lack the least was immortal meridians. Now, immortal meridians were worthless to him. The most valuable thing was stars. There are still 15 billion stars left. As long as I take in a few more villains in a few more cities, I'll be able to obtain 50 billion stars. However, it was still too risky just now. Next, I'll go to a smaller city. Otherwise, I'll be destroyed if I'm not careful. Murong-yu pondered in his heart and finally decided to earn 50 billion stars first. Therefore, Murong-yu left this large state and came to another large state. He found a city much smaller than Origin City. Hichu Luoshu devour? Murong-yu immediately began to devour. When Murong-yu began to devour cities to earn stars, in the northern part of the immortal world, Liao State, near a city about the same size as Origin City. Swoosh! Swoosh! Suddenly, two figures flew over from the distant horizon. Finally, they floated in the void and looked at the city called Chang City from afar. Bastards, bastards! These lowly ants of the immortal world actually dared to injure me. You're all dead. After I recover, I'll sacrifice the entire immortal world. All of you will die, all of you will die. In front of everyone, a youth about 15 or 16 years old looked at Chang City and suddenly said with a ferocious expression, "Master, as long as you sacrifice this city, your injuries should be better. As long as you sacrifice a few more cities, your injuries will be completely healed. At that time, no one in the world will be your mat." The youth behind the youth walked up and said to the youth with a flattering expression, "If Murong-yu were here right now, he'd definitely be astonished." Because this youth was none other than Jiaoli. Back in the Divine Tomb, Murong-yu wanted to kill Jiaoli, but Jiaoli was saved by someone. At this moment, Jiaoli called this youth master. This youth should be the person who saved Jiaoli back then. From the youth's tone, this person seemed to be the god who was resurrected in the Divine Tomb. At this moment, Jiao Li's strength was much more terrifying than when he was only in the Immortal King realm. He had already risen to the late stage of the Immortal Emperor realm. In a few days, he went from a trash whose cultivation was destroyed to a late stage Immortal Emperor realm expert. With such strength, only a god would have such means. The youth nodded and said, "You lowly trash really know how to talk. Since that's the case, let's sacrifice this city." As he spoke, the youth took the lead and flew towards Chang City. Jiaoli looked at the youth's back and an extremely obscure cold and resentful expression flashed across his eyes. "Sooner or later, I'll devour you and become a god. At that time, Murong-yu, you're dead. By then, the entire immortal world will belong to me, Jiaoli." Chapter 712. North of the Immortal World, Liao Prefecture, Chang City. Two people were floating in the sky above Chang City, looking at the city indifferently. These two people were Jiaoli and the resurrected god. "Lowly ants, I'll use your essence blood to restore my strength." The god suddenly laughed maliciously, his eyes filled with bloodlust. At the same time, he opened his hand and instantly enlarged it, grabbing at the entire Chang City below. At the same time as he stretched out his hand, his berserk aura also erupted. Like a raging wave, it swept in all directions, intimidating the heavens and realms. A destructive aura spread out, causing the void to shatter unceasingly. It was like the end of the world. Immediately, the immortals of Chang City were shocked to see this scene. One by one, they raised their heads and saw a huge hand that covered the sky, reaching out from the depths of the sky and grabbing at them. Ah! What's going on? Who's attacking Chang City? Damn it, what a terrifying aura! Which Almighty wants to destroy our Chang City? Hurry up and run. Instantly, Chang City was in chaos. One by one, they flew up like headless flies. Some of them used their strongest attacks to attack the huge hand, while others shot out into the distance, trying to escape from Chang City. Rumble, countless terrifying powers shot up into the sky, shattering the sky, trying to break the huge hand that was grabbing at them. However, before their powers could get close to the huge hand, they were shattered. Lowly existences, you have nowhere to run. A strange smile appeared on the young man's face when he saw the panicked and terrified immortals below. He enjoyed being able to control the power of life with just a flip of his hand. Bam! 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 Countless people came to their senses and tried to escape from Chang City. However, what made them despair was that the entire Chang City seemed to be covered by a huge seal. They couldn't even take half a step out of Chang City, let alone escape. I don't want to die. Fight it out with them. Yes, fight it out with them. Even if they want to kill us, we have to drag them down with us, even if we die. When the immortals realized that they couldn't escape from Chang City, they started to fight with their lives in despair. However, they were too weak. The strongest expert was not even as strong as Origin City. In any case, there was still a late-stage Immortal Emperor expert in the Origin City. However, Chang City didn't even have an intermediate-stage Immortal Emperor expert. Moreover, his strength was much stronger than ordinary Immortal Venerables. Although he hadn't recovered his peak strength, he was still greatly suppressed in the immortal world. However, gods were gods after all. They were gods who had died and been resurrected. Their strength was also very terrifying. Even if all the people in Chang City joined forces, they still wouldn't be able to shake his attack. Finally, with a loud rumble, the sky and earth split apart. The young man's huge hand had already grabbed the entire Chang City. Yes, the young man had captured the entire Chang City. Rise! After the young man grabbed hold of Chang City, which had a circumference of tens of millions of miles, he roared and pulled it out. Rumble! Instantly, the entire Chang City was uprooted by him. Then, the city, which was tens of millions of miles wide, began to shrink rapidly under the pressure of his power. When the young man retracted his huge hand, the city, which was tens of millions of miles wide, had already become a small ball in his palm. Seeing this scene, Jiaoli, who was beside him, revealed a look of shock. The young man's strength was too strong. Even ordinary immortal venerables could destroy Chang City with a slap. However, if the young man could capture a city with hundreds of billions of immortals as easily as eating and drinking, there wouldn't be many people in the entire immortal world who could do that. After all, when capturing a city, it wasn't as simple as uprooting the city. One also had to withstand the attacks of everyone in the city. Master's strength is unparalleled and unparalleled. It's only a matter of time before you recover your peak strength. Jiaoli was shocked, but he didn't forget to flatter. The young man glanced at Jiaoli indifferently and said, "In the future, as long as you follow me and work for me loyally, you might have such strength." Jiaoli's heart turned cold. The young man's words were very obvious. He wanted him to be loyal. This way, he would also have such strength. If he had any bad intentions, he could pinch him to death. Yes. Jiaoli lowered his head and said respectfully. However, he laughed sinisterly in his heart. "How do you know what I'm after? As long as I devour you, not to mention these powers, it's not impossible for me to become a god." The young man was originally a human. If Jiaoli could really devour him, he would obtain the young man's deity heart. At that time, his body would gradually be transformed. He wouldn't even need to go through the god tribulation to become a god. The deity heart was the heart of a god. However, this heart was different from ordinary hearts. The deity heart was the same as an immortal's dantian. It was a place to store power. However, the deity heart was billions of times stronger than the dantian. After all, there was a huge difference between god and immortal. If Jiaoli could really devour the young man, perhaps he could really become a god. Of course, whether Jiaoli had this ability was still unknown. Chongqing, which was like a small ball, was held in the young man's hand. He could almost see the hundreds of billions of immortals in Nashi panicking inside. Although I can't return to my peak after devouring the blood essence of these people, it should heal some of my injuries, the young man muttered to himself. Suddenly, he opened his mouth and swallowed Chongqing. Rumble! The young man's body shook violently. A huge muffled sound came from his body. Then, Jiaoli saw waves of blood qi emanating from the young man's body and wrapping around him. The blood qi rolled continuously and washed over the young man's body. He seemed to be using the blood qi to heal his injuries. After an hour, the young man inhaled and sucked the blood qi into his body. A cold light flashed in Jiaoli's eyes, but he lowered his head, because he saw that the young man's strength was stronger than before. Congratulations, Master. Your strength has improved again. It's just a matter of time before you become invincible. Jiaoli's face was full of flattery. He flattered the young man. The young man nodded with a satisfied look on his face. He said, "After devouring a few hundred more cities like this, I should be able to return to my peak. At that time, even if the laws of heaven and earth still suppress me, I'm still the strongest in the world. However, I'm also the strongest in the immortal world. Immortal sovereigns and immortal sovereigns? At that time, the entire immortal world will be mine. Master's strength is unparalleled. You're invincible." Jiaoli flattered again. The young man was very satisfied. "To the next city," the young man said faintly. Then, he flew to the next city. Half a day later, another city similar to Chongqing in Liao State was uprooted by the young man and devoured by him. Within a day, 10 cities similar to Chongqing in Liao State disappeared into thin air. Almost 10 trillion people were swallowed into the young man's stomach. It was too cruel. How many people were 10 trillion? 1 trillion was 1 trillion. In other words, the young man had swallowed 10 trillion immortals in a day. Of course, this wasn't the most cruel. The most cruel thing was that when the tomb of the gods opened, the young man had sacrificed hundreds of trillions. It was possible that even more people were sacrificed. If this continued, the entire immortal world would be swallowed by the young man. It was too cruel. However, after swallowing 10 cities in a row, the young man disappeared and left Liao State for good. Although there were countless cities like this in Liao Province, if the young man was too arrogant, he would probably be ganged up on. At that time, he might even be beaten to death. Therefore, after swallowing 10 cities, they fled. The entire city has been uprooted. Not a single person can escape. Such cruelty! I'm afraid that the resurrected god has started to devour essence blood to recover. Countless experts swarmed over from all directions. Looking at the craters on the ground, all of them were livid with rage. The immortal world is too big. If he continues to swallow these cities, he'll recover his strength sooner or later. When that time comes, no one in the entire immortal world will be his mat. Stop him. We must stop him from recovering. Track him down with all your might. We must find him and kill him before he recovers. Otherwise, we'll be the ones to die. One by one, the giants and experts gathered together. Their faces were solemn. Among them were experts from the Immortal Palace, the Heavenly Punisher Palace, and other giants. There were also giants from other superpowers. I think we should put aside our past conflict. Our goal should be the same person. Otherwise, we'll be in grave danger. Everyone fell silent. We should gather the heavyweights of the immortal world and discuss this matter together. We'll fight that god together, someone said after a long silence. In that case, let's disperse. We'll gather in Lingnan City in 3 days. The heavyweights seemed to want to temporarily unite to deal with the god. Of course, that god's strength threatened their interests on one hand, but there were also other aspects. They all knew what their own plans were. Just as these people were preparing to work together to deal with that deity, Morongyu was slowly approaching Majo. Haha! This method is indeed the fastest way to earn stars. It hasn't been long, but I've already earned more than 40 billion stars. Morongyu laughed loudly. Along the way, he had also collected villains from several cities. His stars had increased to more than 40 billion. He was getting closer and closer to the 50 billion mark. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.